What up, what up, what up? Good morning. Welcome to JUCO Hoops Insider with All Access Network. Got a special kind of interview lineup today. So we're going to start with one of the veterans in the game, 24 years as head coach, Coach Todd Franklin, head coach at Vincennes Junior College. So, Coach, welcome.
Glad to be here, man.
Glad to have Oh, sorry about that.
All right.
Okay. So, so tell us about the 24 years, junior college. Tell us about your team now. We'll let you kind of roll.
Experience, that's for sure. Started out at Southeastern Illinois. Took a job that they hadn't been very good. We're coaching on the rubber floor. I took on the job 2 weeks before the season with no team, no uniforms, no balls. Started the year off with some crazy things happen. Been through it all. But JUCO isn't for everybody, but it's been a great ride. We've had great teams. We had great teams at Southeastern. Great players, guys like Dante Smith who went to the NBA. A lot of trips to Hutch and Final Fours, and made a lot of great friends in that small town of Harrisburg, and brought it over here to Vincennes and took over a program that was just the exact opposite with a tremendous history, but probably needed to get it going again. And we've been fortunate enough to get it going and go to 8 straight, which is a record, trips to Hutch, won the last national championship that was played, and again, been with great guys and great players. So it's been a great run for me, but it's been a wild run. When you're in JUCO for 23, going on 24 years, you've seen some things.
Yeah, you definitely see some things. Congratulations on that national championship. Tell us about that team in particular. You've coached a lot of good ones. Tell us about that national championship team, if you don't mind.
Great team. And I think that's the key word there. There's a lot of guys that weren't rated very highly coming out of high school. We probably take more predictors than, most all the top 25 or 30 teams in JUCO do. That's just kind of the nature of what we do. So most of those guys were academic qualifiers, which meant they were, maybe a little bit better students, but they've been guys that weren't recruited in high school because they could have went, Division I, Division II out of. They weren't getting the offers. So, and that was true of that whole team. But they just, they came together. They played great basketball. They individually improved. They were the epitome of a team, from Lonnie Francis inside to Keith Clemens out the guard, to undersized George Dixon rebounding the ball, to, the Craig Porters and Kevin Osaways and all those guys are, off into the Division I world now and being successful. But they just came together. They did a little bit of everything well. They moved the ball well. They defended well. Our defensive numbers were, held teams like 36, 37% shooting. We out-rebounded teams by, plus 10, 11. We averaged about 90 points a game, but only give up in the low 60s. Played a good schedule, played one of the toughest runs anybody's ever had to go through at Hutch, taking out Moberly, who was red hot at the time, Odessa, who was gigantic, South Plains in the semis, and then turn around the next morning on national TV and having to beat Billy Gillespie and Ranger. It was great. But I can't, express how much I love that bunch. They were the perfect team to win it.
Coach, talk about some of the history of Vincennes. I know you mentioned that. Some that may not know, you had several NBA guys, even a recent one that you coached. Talk a little bit about the history, team-wise and even individual player-wise, if you don't mind. All-Americans, NBA guys.
Vincennes, the history of Vincennes is not just, one of, if not the best in JUCO basketball history. It's one of the best in basketball history. You're talking about the greatest players that ever played, not the greatest JUCO players, the greatest players. You're talking about Bob McAdoo, who the young guys don't know, as well. But, that's one of the 50 greatest players that ever played the game. For about 3 years in his career, he was the best player on the planet. A couple-time MVP, scoring champion, rebounding champion. He was here. Ricky Green, who kept John Stockton on the bench for years, took Michigan to the national championship game. You've got Sean Marions that more people this generation would know, obviously. One of the great players and a world champion. Carl Landry's, who was in the league forever. Eric Williams, who's in the league forever. We've now added Michael Mulder to the list, who's with Golden State right now, is in his second year, who was a guy that nobody wasn't thought of. He's a mid-major Division I player coming out of high school, has made his way there. I think we've got 12 going on 13. We've got Big Romaro Gill, who's with the G League team with the Jazz right now. The 7'2" kid that was a defensive player of the year in Seton Hall last year, who really had never played basketball before he came here. So we may soon have 13, NBA guys, and those guys were not just, guys. They were studs at the next level. Foots Walker was an NBA All-Star. You can just go on and on. 3 national champions before the last one we won, but it had been a long drought between the third and now our fourth that we won in 2019. So it was great to be able to come back. And it'd been a while since Vincennes had really won on the national level. It'd been 16 years since we'd won a game at the national tournament. They'd been, but they had won. It'd been 20 since we'd been to the Final Four. So when we went to that first Final Four 8 years ago, it broke the glass back again, making Vincennes back to what it's supposed to be. And, we're pretty proud of getting it up there where it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely. As you should be, Coach. And it's not easy to do. I've been blessed to coach in junior college 5 years. You're almost 25. Talk about how challenging it is from the role of the head coach, not only leading your own program day to day, but also just the competition level. You talked about NBA guys. You talked about guys like Bob McAdoo, Sean Marion, Mulder, who's in the league now. So NBA players at that level, which people don't really expect, but also the players you're playing against, and then just how you have to manage every day. Talk a little bit about the JUCO life, Coach.
Well, the talent level is extremely high. I mean, we say it all the time. It's the second biggest college basketball national championship is the JUCO national championship.
Yep.
I mean, the NCAA Division I, obviously, but everything else, they're not the same level of player. And I've coached in NCAA Division II and got great respect for it. I did it for 6 years. It's not the same level. I mean, it's not the same level of players. Now, we got to restructure the team every year.
Right.
So, early in the year, it may not look as pretty, but you talk about getting into the second half of the season when those young guys and those guys start playing right, combined with their talent. I mean, it is what it is. We got to get through. Logan last year's got Jay Scrubb. I mean, he's a second-round pick in the NBA draft. I mean, it's never ending like that. That's the talent level you have. Across the board, and if you're going to win it, that's what you have to do. The guys go right from us that we compete against to win a national championship, to the next level, and they're the studs immediately. And that's hard to do if you're a JUCO guy because you're leaving us and going to a whole new system. It's not that you're not good. Sometimes those JUCO guys get a bad rap that they're not ready. Well, they're not ready. They're moving to a whole new system and having to immediately be a starter. They don't even know the terminology, the things you're doing, et cetera. So I think sometimes it's not they're not ready. It's they're just adapting to whatever system that they have to go, which may be completely different than what they're doing. But talent level's off the chart. And everybody's trying to be competitive across the country. I mean, to win, there's 260 or 270 Division I teams around the country. Everybody's working hard. Men's basketball is probably in JUCO, it's kind of the glamour sport. So it's where everybody's putting their money and their time and their efforts into trying to be really good at. So I mean, it's dog eat dog. There's no question about that. And you better be. I tell everybody, if you can't compete in a mid-major Division I league with your team by January and February, if you can't play in the OVC or the Missouri Valley and be really competitive, and I mean really competitive, you have no chance of winning national championship in junior college. Right.
Very well said. Coach, what's some of the things you would say, like, if you had to say, we'll do a funny story at the end. We'll do a couple more, but what's some of the things you would say, like, misconception-wise about JUCO or something that somebody who's coached as long as you have and had as much success as you've had, what's something you would want people to know the truth about junior college, whether that's people recruiting, whether that's somebody you were recruiting, either way, just people in general, what would you want them to know the real about junior college?
I think as a longtime JUCO coach and now president of the Coaches Association, I think I'd be, wrong not to say this. I think that the guys in JUCO that have done it for a while and have stayed at the very top in the country are some of the best basketball coaches in America. I don't care what level. The Jay Herkelmans and the Steve Greens and, Pat Smiths. And you go down the list, the people that have really done it, the stigma that somehow those guys couldn't go and take over Division I programs and win those leagues if they got, decent jobs is crazy. I've coached at all different levels. Those guys are as good as anybody in the country. And I think, unfairly, a lot of those guys are not given the chance to make that move. And it's been really bad for the Division I guys, because there's a lot of teams and a lot of leagues. Look at what Mark Adams and those guys are doing at Texas Tech.
Yep.
I competed against Mark twice in the national tournament in Elite Eight games, won one, lost one. 2 great games with them. I think if you let some of us who are the top guys in the country got those jobs, I think you'd see those guys winning their leagues. I think you see that pretty consistently. Those guys can really get it done. So I think that's the misconception. Somebody thinks that somebody can go from being a film guy, never leading a program, and he's better to lead a program than Jay Herkelman at Coffeyville or Stevie Green or those guys.
Right.
That's insanity. And we're seeing that every year. Guys get hired these jobs. So, well, he's been in Division I. Well, a lot of us have been in Division I at some point in time too.
True.
And I can tell you, what I did when I was in Division I as an assistant is nothing like what I have to do as a head coach in JUCO to get me prepared. So to think that prepared me to make the jump, I think is just ludicrous. And it's been something to keep these guys down. Whereas if you went in the old days, JUCO was used as a bridge, and you could prove you could really coach and recruit and develop those kind of players at that level. The Eddie Suttons in the old days, the Cotton Fitzsimmons, there was all kinds of guys that made that move and were obviously highly successful. Now we all get real bright and say, well, you can't do it if you haven't been here, doing film. I mean, I used to do film when you had to splice it. So I think I can handle that.
Before there was synergy and all this fancy stuff.
Yeah, so I don't. I think that's the big thing, or that there's not coaching going on. Yeah, right. I mean, that's crazy. Especially now, if you compare like Division I basketball with JUCO basketball now, I'll be real honest. JUCO head coaches who are really good and have run the programs that everybody expects to be good, because then you've done the same type things, right? You got to deal with the media, you got expectations, fans are watching. You have to go through all of it.
Yep.
You have to do it that next level. Those guys, with the way the game is now, everybody transferring. You don't have guys 4 years. You got them, for a short amount of time. The JUCO head coaches that have done that are better trained to do that than anybody in the world. We've been doing that.
Right.
And expected to lose our team and then be top 3 or 4 in the country again the next year.
Yep.
And then when you've had to do that and keep doing it, and anybody thinks that you just walk through, I mean, if Steve at South Plains every year is going to face a tough league, right, in his league, just like he would if he was in, a low to mid Division I league. He's got to reload and be back on top. Right. Every year I've got to come back out here and take on Logan and Wabash Valley and Swick, and you go down the list. Everybody has to do that. It's at the top level. So the preparation, I can't imagine anybody being more prepared for the way that college basketball is now to be successful than the JUCO guys.
Yeah, well said. And there's a lot of JUCO guys. You talked about Mark Adams, but even guys like Chris Jans.
Yeah, absolutely. Who hasn't done well?
Dana Altman, I believe, is a JUCO head coach. Bob Marlin is a JUCO head coach. We could go down the list. There's so many of them. Tell us about
which of those guys now? Steve Forbes.
Steve Forbes.
We compete against in the national tournaments with all those guys you mentioned. What guy, when given his chance, now a lot of times they make them go take, an assistant job at Division I and sit over there for a year, or 2, and then get a job. Well, they were ready when they left, obviously. But, which one of those guys has not been successful?
Right.
Jan's been successful. Forbes has been successful. Mark Adams and those guys have been successful at Tech.
Chris Beard, of course, is a JUCO head coach.
Yeah, when's it not? I mean, when have they not? So that should be a bet that all those guys are making. And I think, like anything, it could not work out, but I think it'll work out most all the time. I would be shocked if you put Herc or Steve or one of those guys in a job. I leave myself out, put those guys in the job. And if I heard they were getting a decent job in one of those Division I leagues, I'm going to bet they're going to be in the top 2 or 3 in that league very, very shortly.
Right. Yeah, I think the perception and winning the press conference has so much to do with that. Coach, tell us two last things. Tell us about your team now, and tell us one funny story before you go.
Break it up a little bit. What did you say?
I said, tell us about your team now, and then tell us one funny story.
Okay, my team now. We're still trying to figure my team now out. I mean, this new thing, I don't know. I mean, we're fortunate. We're 3-0. We've beaten two pretty good teams in Highland and Triton, which were two good wins for us at this point. You know, I think somewhere down the line we'd be a pretty good basketball team. But you know, it's a new bunch and a new year and a new thing, and a new preparation deal. We didn't do any scrimmages in the fall. Didn't do any summer work, which all that's new for us, and we didn't have any guards coming back. So we're trying to figure each other out. I think we've made some gains in the last week, but got a really good freshman in Justin Archer that's played really well for us early. You know, who's got some things done around the basket at this point. I think he can also stretch out some, but he's been good. Then it's been a bit, we're still trying to figure out who it all is going to be. You know, we've got a number of guys that could be good. You know, really athletic guy in John Yucamato that didn't do a whole lot as a freshman, but that's usual for us. And then he's come on here as a sophomore. You know, Randy Tucker's been around here. He's a third-year guy on the wing. It's played pretty well. But we're trying to figure out who our guards are going to be. We've got some guys with talent, but we're still trying to figure it out. But, you know, we're trying to catch up, I guess, to Logan now. They're ranked number 1 in the country. So we've kind of run things around here for a long time. So our guys are, you know, maybe a little bit have a little chip on their shoulder about that, but we'll see how it goes.
That's a good thing. Tell us one funny story, Coach, before we let you go.
Well, there's a lot of them. Some of them aren't, you know, probably good for the air. So I got to tone down and pick up the ones and one. I give one on myself here. We were playing Indian Hills. This is a typical JUCO story here. Now we're playing Indian Hills maybe 3 years ago. It all runs together after a while. We had a manager nicknamed Rubble after Barney Rubble, so you can visualize him right here. But his job was to make sure that you know, I got out of the locker room because I'm a little older and, you know, prostate's not as good as it should be. So I'm always going to get a little bit of business done before I hit the court because that half takes a long time. So I'm going in there. We're done. Everybody's jacked up. Big game, obviously, us in Indian Hills and big crowd. And, you know, it's the last meeting before we go out. It's probably 3, 4, 5 minutes on the clock. I go back to go to the bathroom. Now, Rubble's supposed to make sure that, you know, I'm the last one out. Well, Rubble got excited. So Rub leaves, and the way the doors are in Indian Hills, you lock it with the key from the outside. Okay. So I go over to the door, and the door, you got no handle in it. It's kind of a push-out door. They're in there, break my shoulder going out because it's locked. Now the clock keeps going. Rubble's excited, and he still hasn't noticed that old coach is not out on the floor. So I'm looking at my watch. The game is literally started. I'm still back here. I don't know when I'm going to get out. I don't know if I'm ever going to get out. Nobody's hearing me. I'm back in, the bowels of the and finally, here comes Rubble. Somebody had told him, "Hey, where's Coach?" Of course, they said now Rubble, who's you know, not the most svelte fellow you can imagine, but I got nicknamed Rubble, is sprinting across the court in Indian Hills. He goes right across the main court sprinting over there because he got to get Coach out. He's, you know, white as a sheet, unlocks the door, gets me out. And then to make the last part of the story, I'm coming out. Now, like, you know, the Indian Hills fans are ready to give me, you know, heck anyway. So I come out now, I'm getting, you know, the big timer chant. You know, everybody's on me because you're big time this because you're coming out right, they tip off, blah, 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 you know. So we kind of went with that. So, you know, in JUCO, I don't think that happens every day. Probably didn't happen to Rick Pitino, probably didn't happen to Cal. But in JUCO, you can be forgotten about and left in the toilet if you're not careful.
That's a perfect story, Coach. Great one to end on. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us today. Congratulations again on your national championship and all your success. And it's a lovely season.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be on.
Coach Todd Franklin from Vincennes. Awesome having him on today and having one of the longtime JUCO legends, more or less, a national championship coach. What a tremendous program that they have and tremendous job he's done over the years he's been there. So definitely wanted to start out things right with paying homage to a national champion and one of the guys who's paved the way. We're going to head next to Texas and bring on Coach Wade from Angelina College. They have a much interesting situation going on this year, but he has back-to-back Coach of the Year in their region. has done a tremendous job in his first 2 years as a head coach, and was a junior college assistant coach before that. I think he's got a cool story, and the fact that the first time he's been a full-time assistant was as a head coach, or full-time coach, is as a head coach, which he has a rare story. So I'll let him tell that story. And we'll lead right into Nick Wade, a head coach at Angelina College.
Hey,
Nick,
how's it going, man?
how you doing, man?
Man, I'm blessed. How's everything going?
Yeah, good, man. Good. I was telling the story a little bit, starting away a little bit. So I'll let you tell your own story, and then we'll talk about your season and kind of the news and how that whole thing went down, and just talk about how you've been handling it. But tell the people a little bit of your journey to becoming a head coach and how this is the first full-time position as a college coach that you've ever had.
Yeah, so I graduated from Austin College in 2010. I played college basketball up there for 4 years. After that, graduating with a psychology major and a political science minor, I thought I was going to, go to law school. Figured out very quickly that I didn't think that was in the cards for me, that I still really wanted to coach and be around the game. So I moved back home. I'm from Baytown, Texas. Moved back home to go to grad school at Lamar. I was commuting about that hour and a half to Lamar while working as a custodian at first, and then as a behavior improvement helper at one of the local elementary schools. And I walked into Lee College, and Coach Roy Champagne, I just said, man, can I help? I know. And he said, man, I can't pay you a cent, but yeah, you can come whenever you want to. So I just worked as hard as I could there for 3 years. I was an unpaid assistant, but I was there every day just trying to get on. And we won the league tournament in 2013 there. It was at that time I knew I needed to move on or try to find another job, but nothing materialized for me. It was tough to still break in the business. So I went to work with your brother at McKinney Boyd High School. And my thought process behind that was I always had a feeling Jason would be back in the college game because, he was at Texas State and Texas A&M Commerce. So I wanted to link with him because I knew that, that was the route I wanted to be. So I knew that he could help me and I could learn from him. He stayed there a year and then ended up going on the girls' side. So I moved to Houston with Neil Laminack, and I coached for 2 years, just trying to, get on at a college somewhere. Well, after 2 years at Conroe Oak Ridge High School, Kyle Maneri gave me an opportunity, but again, it was a volunteer assistant. I was not a paid assistant. I was there. I was just working as hard as I could. Was there for 2 years. First year, we make it to the semifinals. Then, some things happened, and I was blessed, to get my master's degree during that time and get an opportunity to be a head coach. And so my first paid coaching job was actually as head coach. And I was a volunteer assistant every year before that. But, I just kind of went all in, and I was blessed to, come out on the side that I was at. So. I can't. Is that me? I can't.
That's me. A little excited. Trying to give you the ISO real quick. Yeah, great story, man. Great story. It's almost very movie-like, storybook-like. It's kind of like those stories that people kind of exaggerate. Like, man, I had to do this to get where you really did it. And all of us have. Really yours is very very unique, man. So talk about how you've built in the last 2 years and had a success, and then we'll get to this season in particular. But never have been a head coach before, inherited a job where you were one of the assistants and you had multiple assistants, and then next thing you know, you're back-to-back coach of the year. How does that happen? How did you build it? What was your strategy? I know you have a really good assistant in Zach Kircher, but talk a little bit about the program and how you built it.
Man, I'm an avid reader. I just try to just there's coaches that have done it at a really, really high level for a lot of years. And I try to be around them. I try to listen. I'm of the mindset that all those coaches, do the same thing. And they just pay attention to the details. They don't skip steps. And that's what we've tried to do here. As far as being coach of the year, that would only happen if I had a great, athletic administration, a great president to back me, and of course, like a great, assistant coach. Zach Kircher, I think, is one of the best assistants in the country. We work well together. That bond is way bigger than basketball, and that helps, and that trickles down to our team. I think that they see our bond and how we work and how we look out for one another, and they care about each other that same way. A thing with our program is, it isn't necessarily about the most talented guys. We want a real unit of guys that play for each other, spend time, and care about each other way bigger than basketball. And I think our first 2 years, we were able to do that. And it hasn't been easy. A lot of people, for instance, I think we've had 2 winning streaks each year of maybe 10 games or so, but we've started each season, 1-6, 1-5, 1-7. And I never really panic because I know that what our end goal is. So as long as we're getting better, as long as we're learning our process and we're sticking to it, I always have full faith in us that, we'll be able to compete at a high level when it matters. And so that's what we've tried to do. We just take it a day at a time. We try to teach the very best we can. It's not necessarily about the plays that we run, but we just want to make sure we teach at a really high level. And we want to make sure that our guys know that, being at Angelina College is a blessing, being at college basketball is a blessing, and we want to treat every possession like that. And I think it's worked well for us.
No doubt it has, man. Salute to you. It's not easy to do, man. Not easy to do. I've coached in that league, and we'll talk about how good the conference is. And we have Tyler's coming on next, Coach Mitch, and he'll talk about the league as well. But talk about when you got the news. I mean, everybody doesn't know what's going on at Angelina right now. You guys are not playing this season. Talk about that process, the news. Obviously, I know you have a great administration and you believe in them, but I know that was news to take. So talk about whatever you feel comfortable sharing of just how you guys have handled it. What was that news like, all that?
Yeah, well, I found out on my birthday, so I will always say that this birthday was not one of the supreme ones. But as a competitor, it's tough. We won the conference tournament and we were headed to Hutch, and then we got news that the national tournament was being moved back. I think that a lot of us hoped that was the case because we didn't know exactly what was going to go on with COVID. But then it was very apparent that there was going to be no national tournament. Just to rewind a little bit, in 2013, when we went to Hutch at Lee College, I was a part-time worker at a local elementary, and they told me that if I was gone that many days that they were going to fire me. So to make sure I still paid my bills, I didn't even get to go to Hutch with that team either. So it's been 2 times I've been eligible to go to Hutch and compete, and I haven't been able to go. So that was really tough. And, I didn't get any of that closure with my guys. Like, they left in the middle of the weekend, and I didn't see some of them still to this day. So that's been kind of difficult. As a competitor, I want to be out there competing. And it's tough for me as a coach who loves basketball and loves my program that I thought we had the class we recruited had a chance to compete at a high level again. And every day that's tough. And even when it's off season and we're having a season, it's tough when I'm not out there. So it's not that. But I will always commend my administration and my athletic department because they did what they thought was best, for the students as a whole in the community. And you can't ever fault that. The competitor in me, which, I'd play through anything, but to keep kids safe and to not risk anything major, I think it was the right call. So, I go through my my roller coaster of emotions. Some days it's really, really, really tough on me. And some days I'm really, really angry. But other days, you see how bad it is for some people, or you hear what some people are going through, and it puts it into perspective. So.
Absolutely, Coach. Well said. Talk about your team, your players. Are they coming back? I know most junior college guys, all junior college guys get another year. Are your guys coming back for next year? And in those that are, talk about the guys that deserve to get some kind of attention and recruit, and just talk about the players individually, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no. When we told the guys that there wasn't going to be a season, every single one of our guys decided to come back. They were willing at that time to burn a red shirt year. And I would, that's not because of anything I or Coach Zach did. They care about each other that much and wanted to, go defend what they thought was theirs. In August, we lost one player. He's at Eastern Florida now, doing a really good job. Christian Eugene for Coach Shulman down there. But everybody's coming back, and they talk all the time, and they talk to me all the time, and they're ready to come back and compete for Angelina College. Our sophomore class, I'm super high on all these guys. Chance Brown, 6'8" kid from Cleveland, Texas, really came on late in the championship game. I think he had 8 points and 10 rebounds, and he was growing up as a freshman. Both of my kids from Peabody High School in Louisiana, Kyron Gibson and Dee Dee Smith, natural-born winners, tough, loyal, compete at a really high level. Those two guys are really, really going to help us. So, I know we had to sit a year out, but at Angelina College, we're not feeling sorry for ourselves, and we know that nobody in our conference feels sorry for us either. You know what I mean? So, we're ready to get back to it when we're able to do so. But we brought in a great freshman class. Nick Traylor out of Wassman, somebody we're excited about. We're starting to get that, piece those classes back together. But, we had to let go one sophomore. One's at Texas A&M Commerce. He was a red shirt, so naturally he had to move on. But the most important thing, these guys are going to get a degree. But, when it's time to throw it up again, they're going to be ready to go defend what they think, what I'm saying, is their championship. And I'm excited for them. So.
Absolutely. Talk real quick. So last two things. There's a debate out there. What junior college league or state is the best? So I'll let you say, why is the Texas East the best junior college conference? And then secondly, you got to leave us with one funny story.
Okay. First of all, I heard what Coach said. Coach Franklin from Vincennes said, and he's absolutely – JUCO basketball is amazing, and the coaches are amazing. There are some phenomenal coaches at this level that could get it done anywhere. I think Texas JUCO basketball, bar none, is the toughest, and I think the East is the toughest because – I always think of us as the Big East Conference, the old Big East, from top to bottom, night in and night out. There's no such thing as a day off, And in Region 14, it always amazes me. It's almost a curse to get the number one seed. The number one seed, if you win the regular season, very rarely do you end up winning the conference tournament. It is just that brutal. And again, we see it now. Navarro's ranked in the top 25. Panola's ranked in the top 25. Last year, Tyler and Kilgore and Panola were all ranked in the top 25. And for some reason, we're still only a one-bid league. You know what I mean? Which is really crazy to me. But, I know everywhere has players that are, playing basketball at a high level. I would have to, if there was ever any chart made, I would have to think that Texas JUCO probably leads the number of, players out there, doing it. And it may be because we have more schools in Texas, whatever that may be. But I just think from top to bottom, Region 14, if you, in some ways, it could be just as hard, if not harder, than winning a national championship night in and night out. But you got to get to the national tournament and prove that. So, you know what I'm saying? So, San Jack did a good job of, holding that crown, but it's time for somebody else to step up. And if we're going to say that, when we get to Hutch, we got to go prove that. And I think that that's the beauty of it. So
now you got to leave us with one funny story. Well said. I couldn't agree more. Leave us with one funny story before you roll.
Man, I think that this is the, I work for your brother a little bit, man. And so my funny story is going to be with him, man. So it's my first game as a high school coach, and I'm freaking out and just making sure everything's good. The jerseys, the this, and Jason Burton's great because he lets you grow in your role. He's gonna let you be a part of everything. So I underestimated just how much work really goes in just to getting a game off. And so, I'm dressed, I got all this stuff on, man. I forgot to shave. I just felt like I looked disheveled in our first game, and I wanted us to look right. So 8 minutes before the game, I decide to shave. And so I'm shaving just to make sure I look presentable because, you know, the staff looks good. It's our first game. It's our first time being seen by the parents. Jason busts in and he's like, it's 8 minutes to game and you're shaving. He absolutely let me have it, man. And I just remember being like, yo, this was not the right time to try to just do that. I should have just went out there. But, you know, it was funny. It was definitely a learning experience. But, no, I remember, you know, a lot of people don't know, but you would come down and mentor not only us, the staff and everything. And your brother's always been a great mentor to me. So this coaching journey has been a lot of fun because a lot of guys that I'm close with and look up to have kind of been there the whole way. So that's been, you know, it's been a great part for me.
Absolutely. I remember those days of you being the assistant back then.
Yeah.
You've come
and
on.
I was a bad one too. I thought I knew everything and knew nothing. So
I think that goes for all of us, man. I think that goes for all of us. Proud of you, man. Proud of you. Not a lot of people would have pegged you to do what you're doing now from being a high school assistant way back then at a team that won one game. Let's be honest. I can bust my brother. He's all-time winningest coach now at his school, so I can bust him up. You guys only won one game that year, and now for both of you to both win championships last year says a lot. And then, you know, obviously the things you're doing and how you've handled this adversity has been first class. And proud to call you a brother, proud to call you a friend. Go Kangaroos of Austin College. And, stay safe out there, man. Look forward to seeing you back on the court next year.
All right, man. Thanks a lot for having me. I'll see you later.
Thanks, Nick.
All righty, bye-bye.
Awesome stuff, man. Awesome stuff. Another great one, another great coach and successful coach, championship coach. We're going to keep it in East Texas, get straight to Tyler, home of Jimmy Butler, bring on assistant Mitch Marquis, and let him talk about Tyler Junior College. So we're going to bring him in right now. Mitch, how you doing, man?
What's up, B? How are you?
I'm well, man. Thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for joining. We're talking some East Texas hoops right now, man. Tell us about East Texas. What makes it what it is?
Man, I think continue on with what Coach Wade said. You can't take a night off here. You take a night off, you're going to get embarrassed. And, you know, our first game of the year went up to Paris, you know, your old stomping grounds, and didn't come prepared. So we didn't have a great game, but it's one of those leagues where there's just no night off. I mean, there are, 5, 6, 7 Division I guys on every team, top to bottom. Pound for pound, I think it's the toughest region in the country. I mean, a lot of people are going to say theirs, but it's like Coach Wade talked about. I mean, you could win your regular season, and very rarely do you win in the conference tournament. I think the first year we were fortunate enough to go since I've been here in 2015 when we had Dominique Shaw and Dale Jones, and I think we were the 8th seed coming out of that, and then we went to Hutch and actually won a game. So to give, the country an example, I mean, I think that alone kind of says how tough the region is.
Absolutely. So everyone always talks about junior college pros. Jimmy Butler is the biggest name in the league from junior college. I know you weren't there to coach him. Your dad is the head coach. Talk about Jimmy. Talk about your dad as well.
Man, so I still remember Jimmy's visit like yesterday. We had to go and work out at White House High School, where I was in high school at the time. I think I was a freshman or a sophomore. And I remember we got done, scrimmaging or whatever. It was like 3-on-3. And he was shooting shots from behind the bench, nothing but net, talking about they were going in. And I walked up to my dad and I was like, man, you can't let him get out of here without signing him. So, they got that done. I remember when I was, watching him, he, at the beginning of the year, you kind of didn't know what he was as a player. But my dad always says a great thing about him. No matter what it was, he hated to lose. So, for example, when you got on the line at the end of practice and, we ran or whatever, he didn't lose. He didn't lose a sprint. I mean, he took it personal, almost every single time. And I think that's probably what's led to all his success in the NBA. I mean, I think he takes it personal to lose. And that's one of the great things about our place. I think, that kind of attitude that we have is taking it personal. But, my dad's been here for 20 years. He's done a great job. Continues to do a great job, transitioning into newer generations and just to watch him have the connection that he does with those kids still, it shows me that I have a long way to go as a coach, to be that calm all the time on the sideline and develop those relationships. But, the neat thing about this place is we've got guys and former players. Man, he's got former players from Indian Hills and Marshalltown that, they'll fly down here for a weekend to come see him. And I think that's pretty special. It kind of says, test to the man that he is and the coach that he is and the professional that he is.
Yeah, I would agree, man. I would definitely agree. And you guys have a long history of winning players, winning seasons. Talk a little bit about just the players of the past, tradition of Tyler Junior College, including yourself playing there for your dad. But talk a little bit about what makes Tyler JC what it is. I mean, a place that now is had several high major players, several All-Americans, guys that have gone at all levels and had success. Talk a little bit about Tyler, the players.
Man, I just think going back from my days playing here, it's different from a Division I atmosphere in the sense that, everybody lives together on the same floor. Usually there's an assistant coach that lives in there with you. So I've had that luxury to live in a dorm with the guys for 7 years. This is the first year that I haven't. Man, it's just, you get to know each other. And, I think it's kind of a cheesy saying, but I mean, it's family. We've got former players since I've started coaching here that I talk to almost every other day. Cameron Johnson, Shahada Wells, Kiefer Punter, guys like that, Dominique Shaw, Tyler Miller. I mean, I talk to these guys all the time. I mean, when you come here, and when we recruit kids, I tell them this too on the phone, is when you come here, you're family for life. Not just your time here, but your time afterwards. I mean, I think today we've got Troy playing at 5 on ESPN Plus, UTA playing at 6 on ESPN Plus. My brother plays for UTA, and every Friday, Saturday that I can, I'm watching that. And then, Cam and Des Ballantyne and Incarnate Word, Cam at SFA, DeAndre Heckert at SFA, every Wednesday, Saturday. So last, Wednesday when we got done with Bossier, I was on the bus, man, watching that SFA game against Abilene Christian, trying to see what those guys were doing. I just think we're really invested into our kids. And luckily for me, I've grown up in a household that's been around junior college basketball. So going back to my time when I was a little kid, riding on the bus, I think the best player that I ever seen, and this includes Jimmy, Corey Hightower played for my dad, a kid from Flint, Michigan, grew up with Mateen Cleaves and Mo Pete.
I'm from Flint, Michigan. He's a Flintstone. I'm a Flintstone too. I know that.
Corey Hightower was committed to go to TCU for Billy Tubbs, and he ended up. This was, I think, to my knowledge, to this day, my father is still the only junior college coach to have 2 players drafted in the same draft: Corey Hightower and Ernest Brown, same team. And Corey Hightower, I was on the bus with him, and I'd get to sit by him, man, and he just tell me, "You see that dunk Kobe did last night?" I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna do that the first play tonight." And sure enough, win the tip, throw it to Corey, comes down baseline, up and under, dunks it. I'm just like, man. And I think that was the first time that I was like, these guys are a little bit different, and then getting older and growing in this, I think, a lot of people think there's like this stigma that junior college basketball isn't, on the same level as Division I. As Coach Franklin, Coach Wade had pointed out, there's a lot of guys that could leave junior college programs and go take over a Division I program and go win right away too. It's just a different atmosphere. You get a lot closer to the kids, I think, in the 2 years that you're at a junior college than you would at a 4-year school. And, that's what makes it tough when they leave. There's a lot of tears shed at times. We had a sophomore heavy group last year. Tough to let them go. We got a brand new group this year. It's been fun. It's been interesting. Man, I think I've learned more this year from these young guys, because we only have one guy back from last year's team,
right,
than anything else. But, man, they love to compete. They play hard every day, and I think that's the fun of it.
No doubt. We're going to let you go, Coach. What's one funny story that you got for us? You've seen it as a kid growing up,
yep,
you've seen it as a player, and you've seen it as a coach. At some point, you'll be a head coach as well. I believe that. But tell us one funny story in junior college that you can.
Man, my dad will probably come out with a book one day about all the stories that he's had. It'll probably be a New York Times bestseller, but I'll give you one. Our first year here, if you remember, there was a kid named Chris Booker that he inherited when he came to Tyler. And Chris Booker was 6'8", 6'9". Man, he could do it all. He was a talented player. He ended up going to Purdue, playing for Gene Cady. But at that time, the recruiting period was open, and Bob Knight flew in. And it was his first year, going in to be his first year at Texas Tech. And so, I never got to meet Bob Knight, but we're from Iowa. He coached at Indiana. It's every kid's dream to meet the general. We pick him up. My dad doesn't make me go to school this day. Thank goodness for this. But the first thing that Bob wanted was, Coach Knight wanted was some donuts. So we go to this little donut spot, and I'll paraphrase some of the verbiage that he uses. But he's picking donuts, and he brings me real close to the side, kind of gets me in close. He goes, "Mitch, see those ones with the sprinkles on right there?" He goes, "Don't ever trust those. You have no idea what's in those." So I want to thank Coach Knight for looking out for me on that. And to this day, I don't think I've had a donut with a sprinkle on it.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, tell your dad I said hello, man. Thanks so much for coming on. Long history of Tyler, tremendous success, and I know you guys
man. Appreciate everything you guys are doing for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And thank you so much. Tell your dad we say hello, and good luck this season, man. I know great things are ahead. It's always good out there in Tyler, man.
Appreciate it. We'll need it.
Okay, man.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Keeping it in Texas. Great job by assistant coach for his dad, Coach Marquis. We're going to keep it in Texas, and we're going to bring it a little bit down the road, and we're going to bring on new head coach officially. He got his first official win as head coach just last week, and actually got another win this week. So done a tremendous job, and great basketball mind. Has been behind the scenes making some great things happen, and now he's in front of the scenes, and couldn't be happier for him, and a great person on top of that. Coach Leslie over at Trinity Valley. We're going to bring him in. Coach, what up, man? I think you might be on. We don't have your volume just yet. Let's see if we can get that on your side. You looking good, Coach. I can't hear you yet, though. Hold on. Let's see if we can get you out. Yeah, these things can get a little tricky, Coach. We still can't hear you just yet, though. Yeah, we might have to get you to leave and come back in. So maybe you can leave and come back in on the same link, and we'll see if we can get you going. All right, a little technical difficulties from Coach. We're gonna go up. We'll go up a little bit the ways and see if we can get a little bit of Wyoming action while we wait on Coach. Coach Souza is in the studio. We'll see if we can bring him on for a second before Coach Leslie gets going. Yeah, we got JUCO interview Friday, man. We're just going around the country, getting some JUCO love to some of these coaches that are doing such a good job. So we'll bring Coach Sosa in the building and see if we can get his mic working. Coach, how you doing?
What's up, B?
How you doing, man? Been a while, man. How you doing?
I think last time I saw you down in Texas, where it was a little bit warmer than it is right now in Wyoming.
Yeah, you definitely seen me in Texas a few times, man. So yeah, tell us about Wyoming. I know you're out there now, head coach. You've been an assistant. When I got to know you, you were an assistant back in the day, and we recruited your guys. Matter of fact, we signed one of your guys, Big Jacob Lancaster, when I was at Abilene Christian.
Big Jake, that was that 2012 or 13?
It's been a while. I can't even remember, but it's been a while. Big Jake was a great one, man. I appreciate the help on him. He was definitely was a handful, but worth every bit of it. Worth every bit of it. But tell us about Western Wyoming. Tell us about your team. Tell us about the program. You've had success there, man. Got a good team and some good players we'll talk about later. But tell us about your journey there.
Oh, it's been a good one. I got into college coaching. I did an undergrad at Oklahoma State and had the privilege to work for Eddie Sutton for 4 years. And it was probably one of the most eye-opening experiences I ever got to be. be a part of. I was there from 1998 to 2002, and unfortunately, I was also there when the plane crash happened back in 2001. We just reached the 20-year anniversary of it, and I lost two of my best friends in that crash. But being part of that program, you got to understand the importance of family, togetherness, and not afraid to tell the people you care about, you love them on a daily basis. And that's something that we try to push and make sure our kids know on a daily basis out here in Western. In previous years, Western hasn't really been synonymous for winning, but they have had some very phenomenal coaches in Casey Jones and Ryan Orton and Trace Bevel who have won. But when you're competing against the Caspers, the Sheridans, the Gillettes, the Northeasterns, the Western Nebraskas, it's hard to to sustain a tradition. And so what we've done in the past 3 years, I'm starting my third year. Our first year, I think we went 13-16, 8-6 in conference and finished in third place. Last year was my second year. We were 30-4, won the Region 9 North and the Region 9 title. But unfortunately, due to COVID, the day that we were planning to go to Hutchinson, Kansas, we got basically called to turn around and come home. Unfortunately, that was the last time I got to spend with those sophomores that year, which, all of them graduated, all of them moved on to four-year schools, and are being very successful student athletes at those respective schools. This upcoming year, it was a little bit different. I have my front line back from last year, and Dane Prim. He averaged 16 and 10 as a freshman last year. I have a kid, 6'9", Trey Pierce, who I'm telling you, he has a chance to be a special player for us this year. And we got a good present back at Christmas time when Trevor Trost decided to return from Hawaii Chaminade. And so past that, we're a brand new team, fresh or wet behind the ears with a bunch of good talented guards trying to learn how to play. And so, dealing with the pandemic and trying to get them to understand the importance of hard work and buying in and respecting the guys who've been through this program before has been a task. We got about 40 days in, and then my entire team, including myself and my assistant, contracted COVID, and we shut down on October 28th, and that was the last time I saw those guys until January 4th. Right now, I think we're sitting at 1-0, and this is a huge weekend for us. We play Snow tonight. We play Salt Lake City tomorrow here in Rock Springs. So, we're going to find out what we're truly made of the next 2 days.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about the different regions. Texas gets a lot of credit. Florida gets a lot of credit. Individual programs kind of outside of that, but those states in particular, Kansas gets its due at times as well. What about that area and that region would you like people to know about the competition and just the level of play that's out there from a recruiting standpoint to a guys that have gone on and had success standpoint, whatever it may be, competition standpoint? Is anything you'd want people to know about the region?
Region 9 has some talented players. I know the travel out here is, kind of scares some people away. I kind of feel bad for my guy over at Portland State. He came out for a trip and he experienced the winter snowstorm of Wyoming and actually got stuck on the highway for 24 hours in his car right before the region tournament, Chris Ginkiss. But there's players out here. At Northeastern Junior College, they had Mohamed Diallo. Gillette had players. Oh, my God, they got a kid in the NBA right now. Northwest Wyoming's had players, a kid in the NBA right now as well. So there are players out here, and the coaches out here have done a phenomenal job. We've had a lot of success with the coaches moving on to D2 head coaching jobs, and Coach Hammer at CSU Pueblo. Coach Reed had success from Otero to Shadow State. Now he's with Steve Smiley, who's another Region 9 coach, who's a head coach at Northern Colorado. He has Corey Farringer on his staff. So Region 9 is full of talent. Region 9 is full of successful coaches. And one great thing is it might not have the superior athletes of Florida and Texas, but we do have good coaches who teach the kids the fundamentals of the game, how to be team players. And I think last year alone, Region 9 had 22 kids, I think, went Division I. So there's a plethora of talent out here. It's just a matter of trying to get out here and see it.
Yeah, getting out there to see it can be tricky for some people. Not always the easiest, but definitely a long line of coaches that have been successful and players as well. Talk a little bit about this pandemic. It's been crazy. So I know you touched on it a little bit, but also just how you doing? Also just give us an insight into JUCO. You've been an assistant coach at that level. Now you're a head coach. Give us some insight into JUCO and even that path and kind of the behind the scenes that people don't get to see. Most people have seen the stuff on Netflix for football. What do they call it? Last Chance U. Tell us some of the inside behind the scenes on Last Chance U for basketball.
It's my path has been phenomenal. My brother got me into this when I was a kid. My favorite player growing up, other than Danny Manning, was Sean Vandiver. He's a JUCO guy, played at Hutchinson Community College, went on to play in the NBA pro. He's an assistant coach at Wyoming, and he was my favorite player when I was 10 years old at Hutchinson Community College. And that's kind of the same path that I went. I went to Hutchinson Community College, and I knew I was never going to play. Let's be realistic. I'm a 5'10", can't dance, can't jump type of kid. And, the junior college route also opened up a lot of doors for me where I had the privilege to meet, a lot of great coaches who've taught me, the ropes. I'm a JUCO guy through and through. Growing up during my spring breaks, everybody went to the beaches or the mountains. And my spring breaks, I either, if we were in the NCAA tournament at Oklahoma State, I'd go spend my week in Hutchinson and watch junior college basketball. And so my path has kind of been that way. Greg Schamberg at Northern Oklahoma College kind of called me my senior year at Oklahoma State and asked if I wanted to be a assistant coach, and that's how I got into it. Junior college is special, man. The bonds you build with the kids, the long bus trips. I experienced the first year in Wyoming and probably do some negative recruiting on my program. But this year, we got stuck in one of those snowstorms, and here I am driving Suburban with my assistant coach driving Suburban, and we actually had to sleep on the side of the highway, which, we hopefully we don't get in trouble for this, but we drove obviously through the field, up the exit ramp the wrong way and slept in the gas station. But what's great about that, if you can say there's something great about that, is you have an opportunity to sit down and get to know your kids on the personal level, get to know what's going on in their personal life, understand what some of their struggles might have been, and kind of talking them through ways to be successful and seizing opportunities is the most important thing. One thing that I make sure we tell our kids, and we learned it from Coach Sutton long ago, that you got to tell your kids you love them. And when they know that you have their back, the do better talks, the come to Jesus talks, so to speak, aren't so harsh on them, and they actually listen to the message. And that's one of the greatest things about junior college. Oh, and don't forget the sack lunches. Everybody knows how good those are when the cheese melts. But junior college is something special. The stigma that surrounds it is a travesty because there's a lot of great people who became professional players, doctors and lawyers, and the relationships you build are lifelong relationships that, are more important than any paycheck that we can receive. I can't hear you, B.
Sorry about that. I was trying to give you the isolation, man. Yeah, we'll let you run after this one, man. Tell us a funny story. I couldn't agree more on the stuff you say about junior college. That's why we want to shine more light on junior college and let these stories be told. So appreciate you coming on, man. We got some good stories behind the scenes ourselves, but tell us a funny story before you go.
Man, I don't know if I can give you a lot of junior college stories because they probably have some extra adjectives and nouns and verbs in there that probably aren't internet friendly. But I do want to tell you a story. I've been in this since I've been 18 years old. I'm 42 now. And I remember, like I said, I knew I was never going to play. I wanted to go to Oklahoma State. I wanted to work for Eddie Sutton. And my head coach at the time was Tim Jankovic. He's a head coach at SMU right now. And I saw a picture on his credenza of him and Coach Sutton. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So I asked him to, call Coach Sutton, see if I could be student manager for him. And so I think it was 1998, July 6th or July 7th. My mom, my dad, my brother got in the car and drove to Stillwater. And I was going to apply to Stillwater, meet Coach Sutton for the first time, trying to get my foot in the door. And I'll never forget it. It's probably the most embarrassing yet funny thing I've ever been through. That we pull up to Gallagher-Iba, and a lot of people don't realize Gallagher-Iba used to only sit 6,000 people. And it was a small building. I mean, it was the size of a Walmart in a small town. I mean, it was a little bitty building. And my dad and I go into Coach Sutton's office in his waiting area, and we're sitting there waiting. Coach Sutton walks around the corner. And I don't get awestruck very often, but he walked around, and, I'm 20 years old looking at this legend. And my dad, same way, we're just kind of awestruck. And he greeted us with a great personality, knew our names, knew where we were from. Well, my brother and my mom walk in. And here's my mom. She's a little bitty spitfire, probably 5 foot, but she plays like she's 7 foot. She walks in, and the first thing I hear her say, "Oh, they play basketball here? This place is so little and rinky dinky. This is no way." And I hear it in the background going, "Oh my God, my mom, what are you doing?" And so she walks right up between me, Coach Sutton, and my father, and sticks her hand out and goes, "Hi, I'm Judy Souza." "And you are?" And Coach Sutton, with the biggest smile and the most humbled look in the world, looks at my mom and says, "Well, hello, Miss Souza. I'm Eddie Sutton. It's nice to meet you." And as a 20-year-old, I'm embarrassed, but I think it dawned on me right then and there that coaching is more than X's and O's. It's about being humble. It's about sharing a passion, somebody's success with each other. And ever since that day, before Coach Sutton passed away, before he started having his health issues, I'd receive a phone call about once a month from him, and that was one of the first things he would ask: "How's Judy? How's Tom?" And that's something that it was embarrassing and funny, but it kind of set the tone for what we're trying to accomplish in our program, is that we care and love everybody who comes through it. I can't hear you, B.
Absolutely, man. Sorry about that.
Oh,
Absolutely.
no, you're good.
I can attest to that from going down there and being in the gym with you when you're an assistant. Some assistants, I'm not surprised that you're a head coach and that you're having the success you're having, because you were so involved as an assistant in every facet of the program, to the point where your head coach probably didn't have to do a whole lot except look good. And that's what assistants do. And I'm not surprised not only that you're a head coach, but you're having the success you're having, man. I'm happy for you. Here to support, man. Thanks so much for coming on, and good luck the rest of the season.
I appreciate what you and Brandon do. I mean, you guys have taken junior college athletics to the next level and give us a platform to showcase our kids. So, I mean, your tireless work is not underappreciated. I'm sorry, not. I can't even think my word I want. But your work is admirable, and I definitely appreciate what you do and your generosity to us and keeping us humble too. So, appreciate you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, man. However we can continue to support, man, we want to do it. We want to help junior college get the respect it deserves as best we can, man. So we're on a mission for that. So good luck the rest of the way, man. I'm sure we'll have you back at some point.
I appreciate it. Hope so.
Okay, thanks, Sos.
All right, talk to you later, man.
Yep, another great one. We're just going to keep going down the line. Of course, I've known him since he was an assistant coach. Awesome to see guys pay their dues as assistants and get to become head coaches. We're going to go back to Texas. One of my favorite stomping grounds, home for me. Not home currently, hardly home, but always repping. So I'm repping still. We got Coach Lester. We're going to bring him back in. Coach, can we hear you now?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got action now. We good. Sometimes these computers, man, they get a little fancy on us, man.
No question. But these iPhones are high tech, so
no doubt. They call them smartphones for a reason. They're probably smarter than us sometimes.
No question.
Yeah, so let's talk about man, so much to get to. I'll just let you kind of have the floor and talk about your journey to there. I know you off to a great start this season. We'll talk about your team in just a little bit, but talk about your journey to becoming head coach there. I know you played for some great coaches, and I know you've done a great job in your career to this point, but tell us a little bit about the journey.
Okay, well, I think this is probably year 31 of being involved in junior college or college basketball. 18 years old, I played at McCook Junior College, following up with Region 9 coach at Western Wyoming. That's a great region. That's where I played for 2 coaches out there. One of them is the reason that I always wanted to be a junior college coach after I played for him, because without him, I wouldn't be here. The personal interest that he showed, beyond my playing ability. He wouldn't let me fail. Coming from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, it's inner city schooling. I got to college and I didn't really hit the ground running, but he would not let me fail no matter how much I wanted to. I could tell you just story after story of him making sure I didn't fail. And we just really talking about the classroom, getting there. But, on the court, hit the ground running. I was the MVP the first year, then signed with the University of Idaho, played for Joe Cravens, great coach, even better man. Joe taught me a lot on and off the court also. All these are reasons why I wanted to be a coach. I wanted to help young men. And since on my journey, I was helped the most in junior college, even though I got my start at the Division I level at Weber State University working for Joe. Those first 6 years of coaching at the D1 level, from Weber State to University of Idaho, working for Leonard Perry, great experience for me. But all along, I wanted to get to junior college. It's just, that's where I felt like I could make my mark and and help the most kids. So I finally, after 6 years, got a chance to get out and got to Garden City with Chris Ballman, Bucket. And that was a great experience. Me and Chris played together. I was a senior, his freshman year at the University of Idaho. So, he got to carry the bags for me and learn a lot under me. And then it was ironic. I got to switch over and come be his assistant coach, which he called me a couple times to come be his coach. And I said no. And then the third time he called, he said, "Coach, I know you're not going to do it, but I'm just telling you here, I got another option opening for you to come." And I said, "No, hold on, wait a minute. This time I'm ready." So, I went down there, and our first year was both of our first years making it to Hutch and to the NJCAA tournament. We had an unbelievable group. Thomas Manzano from New York went to Wyoming. Richard Thomas went to North Texas. Trevor Otley went to Middle Tennessee. I mean, we had a good group of kids, and the season was looking pretty bad in February. We had lost maybe 11 or 12 games. I think at the time at Hutch, we had the most losses for a team at Hutch. But at the end of the year, we rallied them. Coach put his fist down on them, and those guys came together, and we just went on a run, ran through the region tournament. I think we beat everybody by 20 or better, got to Hutch, knocked off the number 1 seed in the first game and at the buzzer, and finished 6th in the country that year. So that was my first year in junior college with a good friend, Chris Ballman. So, I was like, okay, I made the right decision. This feels right. So we had a few more years together there. Fast forward today, that's why I'm at Trinity Valley now. Coach Ballman got the job here. We packed up, came to Texas. And in his 4 years here, we got to Hutch 3 out of the 4 years, won the league 3 out of the 4 years, or co-champs. So it was a great experience. Then, as you know, he's on to Odessa now. We just kind of kept the ball rolling here and just trying to live up to what we built together here.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Talk a little bit about your team this year, Coach. You got a good team. You're off to a good start. Had a couple of big wins already. So talk about the season play so far. I know you got 2 really good players, other good players who are contributing as well. Talk a little bit about the squad.
Okay, this year's team, is different, unlike ever before with the COVID. I know everybody's going through the same things. We've been shut down twice for 14 days in our first 60 days of practice. So, it's not been like a normal year in that sense. We get them in shape, then they get out of shape. Then we get them in shape, they get out of shape. And we've been fortunate since early November to not have any COVID problems. But then they went home for Christmas break for 3 weeks and got to get them back in shape again. And unlike any other year, we don't have any preseason games, we jump right into conference play. So our 22-game schedule is all conference, and this is a tough conference. Every night, anybody can beat anybody. We are lucky to roll out Deshaun Davis, a 6'2" guard from New York, who I believe is rated as one of the top 5 players in the country. And he signed with Oregon State, really good player. Then we also have Big Anderson Mirenbaugh. He's a Dominican kid, and both these kids are in their sophomore years. And he signed with Cleveland State. So we like I said, we're fortunate to have those 2 guys. And then we got a cast of guys from we got another 6'8" kid, Karan Bailey from New York, that's been contributing a lot. We have Trayvon Fuller, a little 5'9" shooting guard back from last year. We got I can't say his name. We call him Toon. He's a 6'9" African kid out of Amarillo, Texas. This freshman, shows great promise. Little skinny now. We trying to put some meat on him, but plays the right way, plays hard, crashes the boards, defends. He's athletic. He's got a chance to be a really, really good player. We also got a young point guard out of East Texas we call him Jay Buckley. Jay's a 6-foot guard that is showed great promise this year so far. He comes off the bench and knows how to play. He's a joy to coach. Let's see who we got. Another sophomore transfer kid, Nathaniel Bastion. We call him Tanny. He's a 6'7" power forward that kind of out of the Dennis Rodman mold, but not Dennis Rodman. But he rebounds the ball hard. He's athletic, great body, plays 100 miles an hour. We just got to get him and to not foul so much. But, he's been coming along great. We got another St. Louis guard, 6'5" freshman, Safar Rasa. He's been added a lot to the table. All our freshman kids are learning. Like I said, without those preseason games to kind of get their feet under, we just jumped in the league, and they don't understand how tough this league is. Right. So they are adjusting. So in the past, we've been able to.
They've stepped up so far, though, Coach.
They have. I think, my expectations are a little higher. So, I'm trying to get them to understand the Trinity Valley way.
Yeah. But you guys are 2-0 to this point? Is that right?
No, we're 2-1. We lost the opener to Kilgore by 69-71 to Kilgore. They got a good team over there. We dropped a 12-point lead with 5 minutes to go. So we hoping to avenge that loss over in Kilgore later in the year.
And then you picked up 2 wins, so 2 in a row is what I meant to say, back to back.
Yes, 2 in a row. Yes, sir. We got
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we got Jacksonville at home on Saturday, and hoping to keep that streak rolling. And then it just keeps getting tougher and tougher. Bossier Paris, Tyler, Paris, all these teams are looking pretty good this year. So, one game after another. There's no breaks in East Texas.
No, we talked about that earlier with Coach Wade and Coach Marquis. Talk about the Trinity Valley history a little bit, player-wise. You talked a little bit about the time with Buck from a team standpoint. Talk about player-wise, some of the good players that come through. I know you had a number 1 player in the country, and Chuck Mitchell, and Mason Jolly was another top 5 rated guy who's playing at SMU now. And then tell us at least one funny story too before you go.
Okay, and then let's not forget our 2-time All-American Hiram Edwards from East Chicago, Midwest. I love the Midwest guys a lot.
Yes, signed at Texas Tech, ended his career at Colorado State. Good play.
Yes, only 2-time All-American in men's history here.
Wow.
So, we've had some great ones. Octavius Ellis, 6'10" kid, played at Cincinnati, playing overseas. Let's see, what kind of funny story can I give you? We got some of these language is not good, but I'll go start at Garden City. We had a big kid. We called him Telly. I'll just leave it at that, Telly. We called him Big Telly. 6'9", 280. In the beginning of the year, you know, he's a little lazy. So coach comes out to practice one day and he has a pink beanie, maybe a super small size. And then, like I say, this kid's 6'9", 280, 290. And coach tells him, here, throw this on. It fits you better. So he puts on this little pink beanie or whatever you want to call it, and it comes to about right here. So he practiced that whole day in that, and, you know, he moved a little faster. He worked a little harder. The coach told him at the end of practice, okay, you can take that off now. and then I could give you one more here. We had a 6'10" kid, heck of a player, but when he first got here, he was a little raw. We called him Jaime.
Okay.
Played at Wichita State.
Wichita State, yep.
And his freshman year, he was, like I say, he didn't understand how hard he would have to work. And I was getting on him one day. He fell on the floor doing towel pushes. I was getting on him. So then I bring everybody in the huddle, and he just starts, he didn't speak English great at that time. He starts saying some stuff in Spanish. And I knew he was saying some real negative things toward me. So I couldn't understand it. I just said, I'll paraphrase on this. I just said to him, back at you. And everybody kind of fell out laughing. We had two other kids that spoke Spanish.
Yep, on that team. Yep.
And they told me afterward what he said. So and me and Jaime are, you know, we're great today. You know, he got through that freshman year. Sophomore year was tough, and he tells me still this day that I was as tough on him as anybody he's coached that has coached him.
And that helped him be ready for what he faced at the next level, because that was tough as well. So, and he had a good career at Wichita State. Well, Coach, thanks so much for joining us, man. I'm sure this will be the last time you're here with us. We actually had Coach Ivy on as well earlier.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had Coach Ivy on. Her and the coach from Moberly, Hannah Hayden, were the first females we've had on the show. So shout out to Coach Ivy over there. And Coach Princess Davis played for my brother at Texas A&M Commerce.
Okay, yeah, they doing a great job over there. Great high expectations this year. She's gonna get it done, and it's great that you guys are doing all what you're doing for junior college, now men and women's basketball.
Yeah, thanks, Coach. Thanks so much, man. We look forward to having you back. Good luck, stay safe, and keep collecting those good stories for us next time.
Oh, I got a bunch of them.
Okay, man. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Mark Leslie there, head coach, Trinity Valley. We're going to go to the Midwest. We're going from Texas to the Midwest. We're going to go out to, we're going to go to DMAC, as they call it. Got a big, huge win to start the year, if I'm not mistaken, against the number one team in the country. And then turned around and got some humble pie themselves. But they will be a team that we know will be in the race to compete for a national championship at their level in junior college, and excited to have Coach Brett P. on. So we're going to bring him on. Coach, how you doing, man?
I'm not doing bad. How are you doing?
Doing well, man. Even better now that we got you on, man.
Yeah, I was just listening to Coach Leslie's stories. He actually knows my former boss, Lance Irvin, really well. So I've heard some Idaho stories. There's a big-time connection to the University of Idaho and different coaches, that's for sure.
I believe it. So speaking of big-time connections, we have a mutual friend who is a G League head coach, and Coach Mahmoud over at the RGV Vipers, who hooked us up. We didn't actually get a chance to link up, and we got up before you came on and got to chop it up. But I know you have a great story, a great history. So before we even get into the JUCO stuff, just tell us your story, how you ended up there, and kind of your journey in this madness.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Mahmoud was actually my college roommate, so he's like family. I mean, like my wife and him are really, really close. Like he'll call or FaceTime me to talk to her. He likes talking to her more than he likes talking to me a lot of the time. So Mahmoud's been great. He's one of the best people I've ever been around, and just like you said, just kind of a salt of the earth guy. you know, for me, it's always kind of been a little bit overlooked. I've always been kind of a little bit overlooked as a player. I was a small town Iowa guy, ended up going to Division II at St. Cloud State, played there and got to coach AAU there for a little while during my college days. And so that's kind of when I knew I wanted to coach. You know, I had an okay college career with things, and, you know, people would ask me about, oh, do you want to play overseas? And I was like, there's a lot of 6-foot white dudes that want to play overseas at the end of the day. And I knew I wanted to coach, and was fortunate enough to kind of get a second assistant spot there early on. And that really helped me develop as a coach. I was able to then get a Division II assistant spot, a full-time spot after a year, and at Wayne State College in Nebraska. And it just helped me a ton. You know, one of the benefits of junior college or the Division II, Division III smaller levels when you're younger is you just get thrown into the fire. So like I had to coach on the floor. I had to learn how to recruit, you know, the academic pieces, you know, all those different parts of it that have really, really helped me at that time develop as a coach and continue to develop as a coach. And then unfortunately, I don't even think you and I talked about this yesterday. My boss got fired. So we got fired 6 weeks before I was supposed to get married. So obviously not ideal times, not ideal situation. You know, and so here we are getting ready for our wedding and also don't know like what the future holds necessarily for us at all. I was fortunate. I got actually offered the ops job at Nebraska Omaha on our honeymoon. And so this isn't my funny story that I have but my wife and I talk about it all the time. We were in the Jamaica airport flying back home, and she was literally like in tears, breaking down, which, you know, you never want for when you're a husband and your wife, you know, that emotional. But we didn't know what we were flying back to. You know, we would have a job, we were looking forward to it, but like we had to move, we had to find a place to live. I had to start my job like immediately because it's June. And as we all know, in ops positions, like that's camp season. So I got home, I had to be ready to run camps in 9 days once we landed. Now I was working for an unbelievable person in Darren Hansen at Nebraska Omaha, who was really helpful with it. John Ritzdorf is who I replaced, who's now at Central Nebraska Community College. And he was really helpful with things, but it's like, we landed in Minneapolis, had to drive 6 hours back to Wayne. And the next morning we got to Wayne, I drove to Omaha and started life in Omaha, and was there for a few years and loved every minute of it. And then, you know, it was one of those things like I missed being on the road recruiting. I missed being on the floor coaching. Like I learned a ton from the people and the coaches on staff at Omaha, but, you know, I was fairly young still. And my wife and I, we don't have kids and didn't have kids at the time either, obviously. And, felt like it was the last time we could kind of take a leap of faith or a little bit of a risk. And I went and worked for Chad Boudreau at Highland Community College in Illinois. And I was actually literally a volunteer. I was working at Dunkin' Donuts in the mornings. I was working weddings at a wine bar in town in Freeport. And then I was also working at the YMCA, which also was our gym at Highland there. So like I was just kind of really grinding it all while my wife was back in Omaha. She stayed back in Omaha. So we did the distance thing for a year. And, you know, everything happens for a reason. At the end of the day, I wanted to go over there to try to build some relationships and connections with some people in Illinois and Wisconsin and this and that. And Chad's actually the person that helped me get connected with Coach Lance Irvin when he got the job at Chicago State. He was looking for a second assistant, and Chad helped me get involved with it a little bit. And I was just doing whatever I could to try to get the job. And I was trying to send him some recruits and help with some players and some different things. And, you know, ultimately I didn't get the job. Coach Irvin was going to hire somebody else, called me and appreciated everything, you know, that I did for him and whatnot, but, you know, was going to go somewhere else. He had a guy that could have more experience than I did. And, you know, I was cool with that. You know, so we'll stay in Freeport then and end up living in the apartments that the players were living in too, you know, for free to try to help with some money and stuff like that too. And, you know, just continuing to work and, you know, just kind of grind that way. You know, I would go recruiting and send some players to Coach Urban, you know, some names to Coach Urban still. And, you know, 3 weeks later, he calls me back and ends up offering me the job. It was a Tuesday morning. It was literally the first day of practice. So it was like late September. And yeah, like I get the call from him, and the next morning I'm at Chicago State practice at 8 a.m. Down in the south side of Chicago. So a dude from Forest City, Iowa, small town Iowa, was working on the south side of Chicago. And it was great, man. Like I loved every minute of being able to be over there and be in the city of Chicago and go to the CPS games. And, you know, just, you know, it was what I wanted to do. You know, it was that was kind of the leap of faith my wife and I were hoping for and to take, you know, and so yeah, we were there for 2 years, and then I was fortunate enough, you know, DMAC had always been a job. My brother actually went to school here and played for Coach McGee, who's our AD. Got to know Coach Bowler, you know, when we were recruiting his guys. Coach Sash and I have known each other for a long time because we're both Iowa guys, and I played against his brother in AAU and things. And when Josh left to go to North Dakota State, I was fortunate enough to just get my foot in the door here and went through the process. And it's nice to just kind of be back closer to home. Like, my family's really important to me. So my parents are about 2 hours away from here. My wife's family's about 4 hours away. So everything kind of clicked that way. So yeah, really fortunate. I know it's kind of a long story, but
no, it's good. It's good.
It's been interesting. I can tell you that for sure.
Hey, we all love it when good things happen to great people, man. And so talk about you moved one seat over head coach. Talk about the big win you got when you came out of the gate to beat the #1 team in the country. I believe you guys are top 5. And then talk about the program, talk about players in the program, anything you want to share that we may want to know.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a big game just in general for just kind of our region and our league. You know, DMAC and Kirkwood traditionally have had, especially the last 20 years, especially Kirkwood's program's been unbelievable. You know, obviously 3 national championships. The names of the head coaches at Kirkwood are pretty historic the last 20 years. You got Chris Jans, you got Coach Wegemeister. You know, Brian Peterson did a great job, and then Tim does an unbelievable job with those guys as well. You know, DMAX is a little bit different because they're still unbelievable coaches and they have great tradition. Their paths have just been different than those other coaches over at Kirkwood. You know, Coach Orv over here played for Coach Stewart at Missouri, and is a legendary coach here. You know, won a bunch of games, and then Coach McGinn, our current AD, took over for him afterwards. So, you know, DMAC had 2 coaches in 17 years. And then now they're on their 3rd head coach in 3 years because Coach John Bowler took over after Coach McGinn. He's been his assistant for a while. And, you know, after 1 year, he's able to go get a job at University of Milwaukee with Coach Baldwin. And Coach Sass took over last year. You know, they were 29-4, had a great team, you know, really, really good group of people at the end of the day. And, you know, Josh was able to get a great opportunity at North Dakota State. So I've just kind of started stepping and not the boat. Josh left this in a great place, a great culture with some great kids in the roster with things. So, you know, that Kirkwood game is just a fun game because just the history between our 2 programs. Not exactly the first game you won as a head coach, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, we had a scrimmage canceled on us the Saturday before. So, like, that was literally the first time our team was able to play all together because we added 2 pieces here at the semester break. And so it just is a credit to our guys. Like, we have some unbelievable character guys on our team. Willie Guy is an unbelievable leader, just a competitive kid that, you know, just wants to win. We've got a really talented forward in Ryan Schmidt that played really well that game. He's a small town Iowa kid that really just didn't have a clue how good he was until last year. And now he's kind of starting to blossom into his own a little bit more. And then we were able to add some pieces here at semester. Like, Zach Hobbs is a transfer. He was supposed to go to Scottsdale Community College. And then unfortunately the Maricopa County community colleges decided to cancel their season on December 21st, I believe it was. And so we recruited Zach during that time and was fortunate to add him. And, you know, he's a nice 6'5" guard that can make shots from the perimeter, can make some plays off the dribble, you know, as well with things. So the fun one though for me was Gonar Below, our freshman forward. He's a smaller town, you know, town of about 6,000 people here in Iowa and Denison. And he had a great game against Kirkwood, like just kind of a coming out party type game. He had 13 points, 4 rebounds, actually hit a really big 3 for us late in the game to kind of stretch the lead and make it comfortable. You know, and Gonar's the type of kid that his younger brother is Omaha Below, who's a top 5 player in the country in his class. And so Gonar sometimes gets overlooked because of how good his younger brother is. Well, Gonar's very, very talented. His path is just different than his brother's. You know, he wasn't coached the same way. His brother's been in Des Moines, you know, and being coached by some different players, whereas he's out in Denison, and they did a great job coaching him. It's just different from a culture standpoint. And so Gonar is just unbelievably coachable. He wants to be really good. So to see him have that type of game, the first game of the year, is just really fun for us. You know, and since then we've had some great contributions from Mark Bradshaw, a kid from Pennsylvania. That's just kind of an electric 6'1", you know, guard off the bench. He's a lefty that he just gives us a huge spark. Like Kirkwood, we're struggling to score because it's our first game. We insert Mark, and he's just kind of that instant offense guy that you always like to have off the bench that can give you that spark. And he did the same thing up at Nyack, you know, with stuff as well that Saturday. And so he's just super valuable for us, you know, as well. And then we were able to add a shooter over the summer, and Christian Hafner, who made 99 threes at Utah State Eastern and shot 41% from 3. So like, wow. Obviously, yeah, like we all know, like you got to be a shooter to be able to put up those type of numbers. So yeah, I really like our pieces and our team. You know, we got to continue to get better. You know, we kind of had a little bit of a hiccup on Wednesday, but you know, it's going to happen. Our league is just unbelievably tough. And so, you know, you're not going undefeated, but it's just a matter of making sure that you're mentally prepared to play your best, you know, every night. And Wednesday, I didn't think we were really sharp, you know, and that comes down to me not having our team prepared. So that's what we're looking for on Saturday now.
Awesome, Coach. Appreciate you breaking that down for us, man. What's a funny story for us before you go?
So this is a coach's worst nightmares story. It's not a JUCO story, but so last year in our first game of the year, I'm unfortunately someone whose weight fluctuates a decent amount. And I was actually in a decent place weight-wise when this happened, but it was the first suit I had ever bought when I first got the Wayne State job and first got a full-time job. So it was an older suit. And so we're playing our first game last year at Chicago State. Can't remember who we were playing, but I was kind of a squatter. Like I like to squat. I didn't want to sit down necessarily. And so all of a sudden we stand up for a timeout and I feel like a breeze in the back of my leg. And can't really figure out what's going on, whatever. And our manager at the time was like, Coach, like you got a big rip in your pants, man. And so like, you know, you could see my boxers, you could see all this stuff. Like we're trying to put a towel, like I'm trying to put a towel kind of around it or whatever. Like the rip was so long and it wasn't even really on a seam. But the rip was so long, like I couldn't cover it up. So like I had to run into my office and go change into my sweats. And I coached the rest of the game in the sweats.
Wow.
So yeah. And then the other part about it is we had an interim AD at the time, who had been like at Texas A&M, like he'd been a big time, you know, AD and this and that. So here I am, a young coach, like you don't want to look bad. And you're like trying to talk to him the next day. I was like, yeah, my pants ripped. That's why I was going like, cause you know, you don't want to, but it's like, yeah, like the hole was it was probably this long of a rip. So yeah, my pants ripped on me, the first game of the year last year. Yeah, I had to deal with that.
How about that? So I don't know if you know Joe Golding, I used to work for at Abilene Christian. He has a story where his pants ripped. I think the game that they won to go to the tournament in the conference championship, and I think he split his as well. And I don't know how he covered it up, but he kept talking about the press conferences for the NCAA tournament, how he only could afford one suit with his salary, so he just had to figure out how to pin it up for the next.
I think I do remember that story. Yeah, because didn't they play Kentucky in the first?
Kentucky,
yeah, because there was something they were talking about that too.
Yeah, he had some sound bites that went viral. So you're not alone in that, Coach. You're not alone. He didn't have to put on sweatpants though.
Yeah, that's a coach's worst nightmare. Obviously, at the end of the day, having to deal with that, because like I think it took me 2 media timeouts finally just be like, dude, I can't do this anymore. Like I got to change.
Right.
So yeah, so that's my funny story for us right there.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, thanks so much for coming, man. I know you're going to continue to do great things there and have a chance to compete for a national championship, as you guys are a top 5 program, and much respect. Glad we got to finally connect, man. And we look forward to having you back at some point.
All right. Sounds good. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and love everything you guys are doing, man. It's awesome. Just, you know, with what JUCO basketball and just kind of some of the lower levels, the attention people are starting to give. I love it because that's where I'm from. I'm a lower level guy that's been able to work, you know, up, down, all over the place. And it's just nice to see coaches get that attention. So thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Appreciate you saying that. I'm the same way, and that's why we're doing it. And we're not going to stop, man. They're going to have to make us stop. We're not going to let them.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
Okay, man.
Well, thank you.
Another awesome head coach on. We're going to go to the South. We haven't been quite to the South yet. We've been in Texas, but we haven't quite been in the South. We're going to go to the South, HBCU Junior College. I don't know if people even knew that existed, but we got one of the most dynamic head coaches in the country, former Division I guy himself. Needs no more introduction. Don't have enough words for it. So we got Yusef Fitzgerald from Hines CC in the building. What's good, homie?
How you doing, baby?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I just need to give you the ISO, man. Just give you the mic and just get out the way, man. I know better. How we doing, man? I know. So you guys had a game winner to start the year. You guys are got another good squad as always, man. Just talk about we'll talk about your journey in a little bit, but talk about this year's team, what you like about them, how you guys were able to kind of already get off to such a good start.
Man, this team is it's different from the first semester. As you know, we were able to add guys at the break. So turn around, I added 4 new guys, and so getting back. They put us on a break, man. It was so crazy. We was out November 20th until January 9th. So trying to fit stuff in and get it going. And our first game was on this Monday. And it was tough, but guys bought in and guys came in here to work. And you know, we don't leave it up for chance here. If you come in here, you're going to work. And we got after it. Our first game went down to Meridian, man. And you know, typically they've been one of the teams that have been on the bottom side of the league. But Coach James Green is coaching from Southern Miss and Valley Division I stops, and he's got that thing rolling over there right now. So we needed a buzzer beater from our point guard, man, who's been playing lights out. I think he averaged 22 and 7.5 assists this week with 3 rebounds and 2.5 steals. So he killed it this week. Had another performance last night at 18, 9, and 5. So Jordan Johnson's been really good for me for 2 years. Here, and then we just added some more pieces. Got a Justin King, 6'8" kid from Bethune-Cookman transfer. Demarius Watts was a Kansas State commit. He's bounced around a little bit, but coming here trying to rewrite his ship. And then also we brought in Matt Heyman from Monroe, Louisiana, 6'5" wing that can play. And then we got some guys from in-state, Marty Burrell, and you know, just a bunch of pieces. I can't go on without mentioning. For us be so far this year, 6'5", 6'6" kid playing on the block. So, you know, we've been solid, man. We got 2 wins this week and got another big test coming up Monday, just because of the circumstances, man. So I love my squad. They play hard. They get after it defensively. We held the team last night to, I think, what was it, 61 points or something like that, and then Meridian was 61 as well. So, you know, I try to stay in that 60 range of giving up points, because if we can score 70, that means we won.
Been Division I coach. Talk about just junior college and what people should appreciate about JUCO, and then talk a little bit about, you guys have accomplished a lot of good things since you've been there. And I know you may not say it if I didn't ask you, but I'll go ahead and ask you. Talk about the accomplishments there so far.
Man, you know me, man. I you know, I'm a grinder, so I gotta try to stay humble, man. Coming from where I come from, but man, this place, Hines, is a very special place. Like you said, HBCU. We're in a rural area in Mississippi, and it's in one of the tougher leagues in the nation. In Region 23 with Pearl River and Jones. Well, I was at Jones for 2 years, and then Gulf Coast had been good for some years, and Holmes. Those guys always come out and go to the tournament, so it's a really tough league. And the guy I took over from, Coach Moore, man, I hold dear to my heart. I've been knowing him almost all my, adolescent and adulthood from 15 years old. When he was at Southern Miss, he recruited me when I was in high school, and then stayed in touch throughout. Great man. But he just did things a little different than I do. And I don't leave things up for chance. So we turned this program around, going from 9 and 12 my first year to, I took some guys that I normally wouldn't take because I had to field a team. It was late when I got the job, and resources were kind of, limited. So I had to field what I had to field. And we played our games that year and finished 9 and 12, which was respectable, in this league, winning those many games. And then the next year we went 11 and 12 with an injury-plagued year. I played that year without my starting point guard and without my starting two guard. We started the year off 7 and 3, and we beat Holmes, which was 13th in the country at that time, twice before the break. And get in practice, man. And one of them days, the coaches will tell you all the time, when you think about cutting practice short, and I messed around, and my internal voice was telling me, nah, you got to tell these kids and teach them how to finish. Don't cut nothing short. A doggone point guard goes down with a broken foot. My two guard goes down with a torn lateral meniscus. Both of them out for the year. Kind of hurt that season. We playing with some guys that would, gave me everything they had, but talent-wise, it just was what it was. And those guys were able to earn some scholarships and go on past me and still be playing 4 years. So it worked out. That next year we ended up going 16 and 9, finishing second in the conference behind Pearl River. Made the playoffs for the first time in over a decade. Won a game in the playoffs for over a decade. So it was some pretty good accomplishment. Had 3 Division I guys, and overall, since I've been here, other than that first year, we've had guys go Division I out of here, including that injury-plagued year. The two guard that tore his lateral meniscus still ended up going to Grambling because that's how good he was, and had a solid year over there. So just been trying to plug away and catch up with the higher level guys in the country, man. With I've seen JUCO for so many years and watched some guys from afar. You just had Brett on your show. He's over at DMAC, which he's doing a great job. And I think the world of Brett. We talk all the time. Just trying to catch up with the rest of the nation with this program. And it's going to take a little bit more time, but I think we're in the right direction right now. We're sitting at 2-0 with a big game coming up Monday, and we're playing 14 games this year. And I'm just looking to try to improve, man. My thing has always been, my personal accolades come last. At the end of the day, I'm here for the kids. These kids have misdirection, is what I call it. A lot of times they're coming to me, and my thing is trying to get them back on the right path. We're trying to be successful, man, whether it's, on or off the court, mainly off the court, because on the court takes care of itself. Off the court are your choices. So for me, just trying to make sure we graduating all our guys, man. Every year that I've been here, except for that first one, we've only had like one guy that wasn't going to graduate. And that was because taking these transfers, sometimes, they come from places with a bad academic start, and we just got to get them out of here. And that way they have to come back in the summer sometimes. And then I also give reality checks of basketball might not go past me. This might be it, because the real world kicks in sometimes. So some of these guys, I tell them, like, hey, look, man, if basketball's not in your payable future, use it to get your education. Yeah, but it's time to go to work. And I hired some of my guys here. I just hired a grad assistant that, didn't necessarily play for me, but came up under the system that I came in. So I hired him, and I try to bring back guys as much as I can to give them a start in the business, man, just to kind of pay it forward. Because like I say, it's all about, others, man. I'm 43 now, B. Like, I've done a lot, man. I've been at IMG for 4 years, had mega success there. I was in Chicago, man, worked with Mean Streets and them guys with Nike up there. Coached at Julian High School with Lauren Jackson, one of the best minds in basketball I've ever been around. Going to Jones for 2 years with Coach Lockhart, man, and winning over there, being ranked in the country. And then going up to Iona for that year, which was very, very eye-opening for the Division I experience. Made it to the tournament, had a great run that year up in the MAC, man. Tim Cluse, Jared Grasso, Brock Erickson, Mark and Cooper Calzanetti, that whole staff, the managers, that team. It was just a great experience, man. Made it to the tournament. Oregon kicked out behind, but, we were there. But just trying to, pay it forward to people that have helped me get to where I am and to help these other guys get to where they're trying to go.
Absolutely, man. That's what makes you who you are. So we've talked we've been a little bit all over the country today as far as our guests, from the Midwest to way west in the Rocky Mountain region to back to the Midwest to Texas. Talk about Mississippi, man. People don't necessarily want to respect the SIP as far as junior college. You talked a little bit about Pearl River and some of the teams in the league, but just talk about the junior college down there, why it gets some respect and why people should recruit not only your program, but that region.
Well, the one thing you're going to get is these kids play hard as stuff, Brian. I'm going to clean it up today. They play very, very hard here, man. It's a stigma on Mississippi because I think guys it's one of the under-recruited regions, Mississippi and some of Louisiana, but I think it's more of a, they have their own stigma that they have outside of here. And I think it's wrong. I think these guys can play. Especially I've been here and I've been at Jones, and then I'm from down here. Like, I'm from Atlanta originally, but I played basketball in Mississippi for high school and college. And I mean, we've always been talented. If you look back on the history of the sport, we've had Mississippi guys in the NBA and overseas and some of your better players. I think what happens is, you get outside and people decide on who and where they want to deal with and get their kids from, which is fine. And like I tell people, somebody's going to recruit my guys because we do a hell of a job over here of, promoting and getting it out. And I think some of it is just, we're in a rural area, so coming to our games and we might not be playing the best team that night. And they can't make it to some of the games, and we are playing the best team. So it kind of makes it, hard to deal with. And you have to be realistic with it, understanding that, we're not the end of all for recruiting. You guys can find kids everywhere. There's so many kids playing basketball nowadays, so they go different places. So, I think this league is great. I think it's been underrated for years. I didn't know about this league until I got in it, because coming out of high school down here, we didn't hear about JUCO. It was Division I's. I got in trouble, so I had to go ahead and high. So, but it was just 4-year schools from my school that I came from. But once I got in it, I realized it's a bunch of talent in here. Like, we played a team Monday, Meridian, that has a guard that transferred from Chicago State, 6'5" wing that can shoot the blood out of it. Then their point guard is a midget lefty that goes hard and can play. So for me, I just think, man, guys have their own stigma and their own ways about going to recruit guys and where they go. And it is what it is. I think everybody probably deals with some of the same issues, man. I think the media market down here is behind a little bit as far as overall exposure. But, coming from IMG and then my assistant coach, Coach John Neville and Coach Dontelius Ross, both of those guys come from Division I experiences. Dontelius Ross played 2-3 years at Jackson State. John comes from Ole Miss on their staff, where he's video coordinator, and he did a lot of things for Andy Kennedy when they were there. So I just brought that marketing campaign from IMG and meshed it with my two guys, and we just get content out, man, to make sure that our guys are exposed. I talked to Jerry Mullen a lot. I talked to Brandon Goble a lot. Man, it's just a lot of guys. Kirvin Lang down in Alabama. It's a lot of ways. Corey Black over in Georgia. It's a lot of ways that I use my network that I've gained over the years from IMG Chicago, EYBL, just to get guys' names out here, man, and get them recruited. And then it helps that everybody pretty much knows that I'm going to tell you the truth. Like, I don't care who you are and how it goes. You're going to hear the truth out of my mouth, whether you like it or not. You can take that to bed with you. Like, I don't care if you come in my office with your feelings on your sleeve, you're going to get them crushed, because I'm going to tell you the truth. And a lot of times people don't want to hear that. Like, even with these college coaches sometimes, and I don't hold no punches. Some of these coaches don't want to hear the truth sometimes, man. It is, you know what I mean? Like you try to tell a guy, hey, man, that kid can play. They look over the kid, and the kid looks up playing against him. Well, why you ain't sending him to me? I told you he can play. I'm not going to do your job for you. You got to come down here and recruit him. If you don't, they'll end up somewhere, and you end up, oh, man, you sent the kid. I ain't sent the kid nowhere. The kid chose where he wanted to go. He went where he wanted to be. The same thing with coming to Hines. People would call me like, how you get that kid to Hines? Hell, he wanted to come. I mean, what are we talking about? It's not rocket science. But what happens is, like I tell them, everybody has their friends.
Yep.
That's their clique. That's cool. Don't call me when your clique didn't come through. Call me when it's real. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the beginning, when I say, hey, I got one, like, I've told people about this point guard I had last year. The kid had 20-something offers before pandemic. Right. I told him to leave. I said, man, get out. I'm tired. I'm done with you. You've learned all you learn. You know what I mean? But his thing was, Coach, I can't take a visit. I think I need to learn some more. I enjoy playing for you because you taught me so much and brought me so far. I'll come back for another year. Now I call everybody, hey man, the kid's coming back. The kid can play. The blah, 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 blah. Send out emails. I do all types of stuff, right? Look up the kid, you know what I'm saying? Nobody's calling because, I can't get out. I can't put eyes on him. Dude, this is my 16th year in coaching, bro.
Right.
I want draft picks back down. The guy's going NAIA. And if you know me, I'm going to tell you, hey, right. That kid is not for you.
Right.
He's not good enough.
Right.
Go this one over here. That's the one for you. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you don't have to deal with the fluff with me. So if that's the case, come see me. But see, that's the part of the business that's screwed because some people give the fluff. And when you give that fluff, it's a bad look on all of the other coaches that's in your realm. So at the end of the day, if one JUCO coach screws it up for all of us, that's just how it is. So like I tell these young coaches, don't get in your feelings, man. Leave your feelings at home with your mom, man. Like, we don't have time for that. Pick up the pieces, bro, and go find a way to get that kid recruited. You got to think outside the box. You know what I mean? Like, people get so logged in with, I saw them do it like this. Okay, well, that's not working for you. So you're going to keep doing it and being unsuccessful? That's not smart. It's not smart, guys. Now, you can get on me for calling you dumb or calling you not smart. That's on you.
Right.
But look at what you're doing. If it ain't making no sense, brother, stop. You know what I mean?
We got a couple good comments. Coach Eric Colbert gave the truth, and then Andre Owens, assistant at Sam Houston, just said that's appreciated with an exclamation point. So
those are two guys. Let me tell y'all something. Eric Colbert and I have known each other for however many years, and he's always been one way, 1,000. I was at Iona. Eric Colbert was answering my phone calls as a nothing guy on that staff, and he was trying to get me a kid, man. And I was working my tail off to get him. My boss just chose to do something differently. But Eric Colbert, Andre Owens, great man. Been knowing him for some years. Two good dudes, man. Like, that's the part. You, myself, Dre, Eric, man. That's the brotherhood part of this thing that is so special and makes me keep, staying in it, and year after year being excited, just to be around and be able to talk to you guys and get good, positive, real feedback. If we can cut the fluff off, if we can cut this fluff and this fat, man, out the business, it'll be better.
No doubt.
Much better. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
I tell people, guys that call me my guy. My guy. I ain't heard you, dog. I ain't heard you in 6 years, bro. What you talking about my guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like, in that case, B, watch this. In that case, I'm cool with not hearing from you for 6 years, brother. But at the same time, when you call my phone, keep it a buck.
Right.
Hey, man, you ain't heard from me in a while, bro, because I've been moving, I've been doing this, I've been shaking, you know what I'm saying? My bad on that. But I hear you got a kid. Now that conversation sounds wonderful. But this is the problem I have with this business. I call a dude, hey, man, I'm looking for a job, bro. Don't answer the phone, B. They won't answer the phone, right?
They going to hide on you.
When I end up with a kid, it's like, hey, coach, how you doing? How am I doing? Hell, you mean? Excuse me, B. My bad.
You good?
Heck, you mean? How am I doing? Dog, I was struggling. I just heard B talking about how he was in between jobs on a darn honeymoon and a wedding, bro. You know how much a wedding costs? You know how much a honeymoon costs?
Right.
You call me after that, after I called you for that job, you don't answer the phone at all.
Right.
B, you're not that busy. That phone, you looking at that phone call, pick that phone up. Hey, man, I don't have anything for you right now, brother. I appreciate your interest. You know what I'm saying? I got to go in a different direction. Whatever it is, just give me the real. Instead of dodging my call, then I end up with a kid. Now you calling me, hey, man, my guy. Okay, let me help everybody out that's on this podcast. I'm going to hit you back with the same thing. My guy, what's up, baby? How you doing? When we get through with all that fluff and you ask me about that kid, I'm going to tell you, hey, man, good luck. Good luck to you. And ain't no hard feelings. Don't get any feelings. Remember I said that now. Good luck, brother. I hope you get him. You know what I'm saying? I hope you get him, dog. Because we don't need that. Because think about it, B. I tell you a real story. And this is my funny story. I'm going to get out of the way. Man, last night, bro, we played a game, bro. No lie. And it was a stuck. We started off, we was down damn 12. I was stuck. I was looking crazy. We ended up pulling the game out of course and beat them by 15, whatever. So I get home. And as everybody knows as a parent, when you get home, nobody cares at the house what happened in the gym. The baby that's 2 years old, that is a handful, she doesn't give a rat's patootie about what just went on. My wife too. My wife cares, but once I get home, she'll care. So I get home, the front TV she says it's broke. That's the first thing she said. The TV's broke. Can you fix Nova's TV? Okay, cool, I'll fix it. So I go up there, and there's some signs on TV. You know, men, we all know this. We're going to check a couple things. The plugs. The plugs is the first thing you check. Okay, the back of the TV and the input. So I said, okay, the box is not on, so automatically something's not plugged up, B. I'm trying to talk to my 6'7" freshman, 6'7" Bethune transfer to let him know he's going to be okay, and he got better throughout the game. And I'm trying to give him some life stuff too, along with basketball's not the end of all and life things, and you know the stuff that we got to do. This I call it crisis intervention. And I'm talking to him on the phone, and it was so good because he was in a down place, he was in a bad place, and I'm telling him like, dude, I'm trying to talk to you, but I'm trying to fix this TV. So at the point I'm talking and not paying attention to what I'm doing, so I'm on the doggone TV. I'm back at the TV. I'm looking at it. I said, wait a minute, the box not damn on. So I hit the damn power button on the surge protector, bro. The TV pops on, B. The kid, I'm whispering. Now, mind you, if Brian, if you show this to my wife, I promise you, I'm gonna have to come see you. Do that. Because I whispered this to the kid. I went in the other room. I made sure I explained to him how to be a husband as well. See, it's all about life lessons. I said, man, when you become a husband, you got to go in the other room and you got to whisper and you got to talk about her. That's cool. If you whisper, I said, if she come here behind me, she gonna hit me in the back of the head. So I snuck out of the room and I whispered everything to her. I said, bro, all she had to do was push the power button, bro. Just the power button. And it was perfect because it spun into see how simplistic life is. We make it so complicated, but it's so simplistic. She was bent out of shape. The baby was bent out of shape because the TV wasn't coming on. She want to watch Tots and Puppy Dog Pals. And oh my God, we can't get it on. The power button, bro. Just check the power button. Just check the power. You know what I mean? But it's the way we are, man, and we brought up, and our experiences that influence our behavior, right?
Yep.
But at the same time, man, that's a choice.
Yep.
That's a choice. I come from, you know where I come from, B.
Yep.
You know, I'm thrown off a little bit. You know what I mean? I come from dysfunction at its finest. You know what I mean? So, like, at the end of the day, I could have chose to be like my father. I love my daddy to death, but let's keep it a buck. Y'all know I keep it a buck. He ain't worth a doggone. He ain't worth 2 damn fly smash. But I love him to death because he taught me what not to do. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, like, just because the experience was bad, just because your environment is what it is, that doesn't make you. You make you. Your choices make you, man. You can choose to be that, or you can choose to be a better person. It's on you. If you be an asshole, be an asshole. Be the best one you can be. You know what I'm saying? Don't come here one day being nice to everybody. No, be that all the way through. But if you want to be something different, man, it's your choice. America, I love this country, the way they let us do what we want to do. I went from in the streets to being a head coach of a junior college at HBCU at that in Mississippi that I never dreamed about when I first started coaching. The only reason I got into coaching was because I had done so much wrong. I was like, I got to give back to the community. It's turned into a whole damn track. I've been on a journey.
Right.
Lord Jesus, listen, Brian, I applied at IMG every day. The janitor position, the yard crew, the landscaping. I don't know how to plant no damn flowers, but all I wanted was one opportunity. Man, I couldn't get in IMG. I moved to Chicago. I get with Lauren Jackson, man, on some fluky stuff, man. I was doing the Mayor's Fest, the Winter Fest for the Mayor Daley at the time. I think it was Mayor Daley at the time in Chicago. And he did this big Winter Fest at the McCormick Place, man. And I was working for ITPHoops.com. They gave me my own station. I was doing individual drills. And the Kennedy King coaches came over. I think the father, rest in peace, I think his name was Dildy. And he came over. He was like, man, who are you? And where'd you get this stuff from? I'm like, hey, man, I'm just Yusef from Mississippi. I did this when I was younger. I'm just showing these kids how I got better. You know, he's like, that's some good stuff. Okay, cool. Thank you. He plugs me with Lauren Jackson. Lauren Jackson takes me over to Julian. I get plugged with a guy named Merle Code, man. And I know people gonna hear that name and they gonna cringe. And hey, man, that's your choice. It's my friend. I hadn't talked to him since the situation, but that's a guy that helped me through my process and through my career. And I always have love for him. got with him, man. He put me with Ty Streets, with Mean Streets. I got with Anthony Davis, man, and it just took legs and grew. Lauren Jackson, I bring him over to Mean Streets with us because he had two guards, Phil Green. I'm sorry, not two guards. He had Phil Green, Jamari Traylor, and Shiak. Phil ended up at St. John's, Jamari at Kansas, and Shiak went to UMKC and Bradley. So we brought them over to the team with Anthony Davis, Juice Brown, Darian Walker. Oh, we were loaded. And Lauren, in turn, gets the IMG job with Andy Borman, who's Coach K's nephew, who now runs the New York Reds Nike organization. Lauren takes the job and tells Andy he has to have me on his staff. And it comes from, and I'm going to tell you something, B, that I want this to go out. I want everybody to hear a lesson of loyalty and how God will repay you or prepare you, whichever way you want to look at it. Lauren got in some stuff, man, at that school, at Juliet High School. They fired Lauren. They wanted to put me on staff with the staff that was staying. And I told them politely in their face, like, hey, man, if he goes, I go. I came with him. I'm leaving with him. Y'all can't keep him on. I'm not staying on. We both walked out the doors. Now I'm let you know that now. They told, okay, well, you stand with him back. Whatever. So turn around. Lauren gets the job that summer at IMG, and he repaid me that fast. That summer, we talking about from February, January to March, I had been applying at IMG for 5-6 years. He tells me IMG. I said, man, stop playing with me, G. Don't play with me. I said, don't play with me like that. I said, Coach, do not play with me like that. I said, I've been applying to this place for you. Ain't no way you at IMG. He gets this before the FaceTime stuff. Now he's taking pictures, sending them to him. I'm like, man, you are there. Like, are you serious? So I fly down. I take me a big Nike duffel bag. They gave us a big Nike duffel bag in Houston. Right. Matter of fact, I was on the inaugural EYBL teams. Like the first year EYBL, I'm with Mean Streets. So we get to Houston, they give us a big Nike bag full of sweaters. It was the dumbest packed bag I ever seen in my life. So I take the bag because I'm like, man, I can use this for luggage. You know how we do duffel bags, baby. It was one of the big ones. I never had one of those. So I pack that bag full of summer clothes, go to IMG. I leave my truck behind. I leave my old lady behind. Watch this. I'm going down there for an interview. B, I never went back.
Never going back. You knew that. That's why you packed that way.
No, I told that girl, listen, you can move down here. You got a room. You can stay with me. Not coming. Could you put the rest of my belongings in my truck, and I'm going to pay these folks $700 to ship my truck from Chicago to Florida. They dropped my truck off in Florida. I never went back. You hear me? She never came, too. Let me say that out loud. She never came. I was still I was down there by myself, but it's the story of loyalty with Lauren, man, that people in this business have to recognize and have to take ownership of. You got to be loyal to the people that are helping you, man. Now, there's some people out there that's not going to help you. That's the truth. You still don't cross them. You still do not cross them because they'll stuff will get answered in heaven, man, when they got the answer to the person who's supposed to be judging us all. You know what I'm saying? You keep rolling, man. Just keep rolling because people who have helped you, they're going to be behind you. I can call plenty of guys. Stan Jones over at Florida State, Leonard Hamilton on that same staff. I called them on their phone. They're going to pick up. They're going to say, Coach, don't do that like that. Do that like this. You know what I'm saying? I've done that before. Don't do that. Leonard Hamilton will tell you, he works to me on the real side. Now, he going to call you. He might call you out your name. That's stupid. Like, why would you do that stupid shit? And that's what he's asked me that before, and I'm like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, well, maybe you're right. That might be stupid. You know what I mean? So, like, but those people are always going to be in your corners because they genuinely give a darn about you. Another story I had, I thought I was sexy at one time, B. I had got the job at I was still at IMG and I came home for a tournament, man, down in Mississippi for a tournament, dog. And at the tournament, I had a room, and my room had a jacuzzi in it. So, I'm in the jacuzzi chilling. So I'm, taking pictures, selfies. This is when selfies came out. So I'm all in the jacuzzi selfie and myself, you know what I'm saying? I'm putting it all on social media. I got a call from an assistant at Florida State. I don't even name his name. He said, hey, man, Lynn say, take that. Do you have your shirt off on video, bro? Like on social media? Like, are you in the tub, like, for real? I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm in a jacuzzi. Well, I ain't had too many jacuzzi. I don't know who all has. A lot of them in their lifetime, but I didn't get that growing up. Jacuzzi was, you poot in the tub. You know what I'm saying? That's the jacuzzi I got. So at the end of the day, I'm loving the jacuzzi. Man, them folks got on my tail so much, man, and roasted me so bad, I took it down, B. That's how bad they got on my tail. And that's the type of people you want in your corner because at the end of the day, they're going to check you. And you can't be in your feelings to get checked, because when you're getting checked, that means they care about you. And then that means they also are trying to help you along your path.
Right.
We get so caught up so many times. Oh, who is he to tell me? They're going to talk to me like this. Oh, okay, then we'll keep thinking like that. You'll see where you end up, buddy. It ain't going to be long. Like I tell people, it ain't going to be long. You keep on that way now.
Right.
So I mean, it's just, man, it's been, this journey, man, is a blessing. I couldn't have mapped it out. I couldn't have wrote it out. Now, when I do write my book, it's going to be tremendous, because this has been part of the chapters that, you know, I can say, coming from where I come from to where we are and then where we've taken places. You know, I call it the golden type touch. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I go somewhere, man, we going to get something done. Like, because I work my tail off, and I expect anybody working with me or alongside me or for me, I expect you to do the same thing. I'm hard on them the same way I am on my guys. Like, my assistants will tell you, like, nah, coach gonna get on you when it's time to be got on. And even for you, B, I've called you a couple times. Hey, pick your chin up. What's wrong with you? Get up, figure it out. Ain't no laying around pouting and complaining and depressed. Get up, get your tail. And look what, now you have one of the top shows on All Access that everybody wants to be on, B. You rolling. You vice president or something. I know you vice president of something. I don't know them titles. You know, but it's just the uplifting of brotherhood. And I'll go even more sensitive. We get caught up sometimes. Some of these coaches, man, get sensitive about this race stuff, man. It's not about race, man. It's not about what color you are, man. You can be blue, green, brown, orange. I don't care how you showed up now. You show up in front of me and you blue now, I'm going to have something to say. But I'm going to treat you the same. Now, I'm going to have something to say, but I'm going to treat you the same. Like, it's a brotherhood of trying to uplift others, man. Like, if we all on the same page, the world will be greater, man. Like, that's what's wrong with our inner cities, man. It ain't a lot of love, man. It's a lot of perpetuating the same cycle of situations that we can't break because ain't no love.
Right. We want to bring Yusef back and have like a Yusef show on his own.
Yeah. Now you working, B. There you go.
No, it's always love, man. We had you on the Social Justice Roundtable, and you were amazing then, and always are, and you know it ain't never gonna change, man. Excited for what you're doing there, and love that you kept it so real as always. And yeah, we're gonna have to have you back, man. Stay safe out there, keep kicking butt. Congratulations on getting married, by the way. That's a championship, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, man. Y'all be safe, man. Stay out the way. Blessings to the family, everybody, man. Everybody, blessings to your family, man. I pray for everybody all the time, man. Good luck, everybody, man. Thank you, B.
Okay, appreciate it. Yeah, as you can see, one of the best of the best of the best. It gets no more entertaining and no more dynamic than my man Yusef. So yeah, root for Hines out there in Mississippi. Shout out to the SIP and all the teams out there. We're gonna take one last trip to Texas. Got to start. We started in the Midwest with an OG. We got 2 more stops in Texas. We're gonna go to Division III junior college route. Head coach and athletic director Anthony Fletcher has been there for quite some time. Has been a Division I JUCO assistant as well at McLennan under Kevin Gill. Has done a tremendous job. One of the highest scoring teams in the country in Division III junior college, and one of the teams that is always on the radar to be nationally ranked and have a chance to compete for a national championship. And then we'll end this day's show with a legend, Coach Lewis Orr from Navarro College, who coached 37 years in junior college. He's a Hall of Famer. He has a tremendous tree with guys like Buzz Williams, who was in his tree, guys like Bilal Batley at Houston, Johnny Estelle at Texas A&M Kingsville, Scott Monarch over at Grayson College, Terry Waldrop, who won a national championship at Texas Wesleyan or coached the national championship game. So, yeah, he's got an extensive tree as well. So we'll have him on last. But right now we got Coach Anthony Fletcher from Mesquite, Texas, representing Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Coach, what up, man?
How's it going? What up, Coach?
It's good, man. It's good. You don't have to – it's not a tough act to follow. You just got to be you. But I know you got some entertainment backstage just now listening to my man Yusef.
Oh, yeah. JUCO energy, baby.
No doubt. You got to love the JUCO energy. So yeah, tell us your quick story, Coach, and tell us a little bit about Eastfield College and just how you landed as the head coach and athletic director, and tell us a little bit about the program.
Yeah, started out at Angelo State. I was a walk-on over there, and knew I wanted to coach, and was just trying to learn everything. And after I got done doing that, I became a graduate assistant coach. Was there for 2 years, then moved back to Mesquite, lived with my parents, and became an assistant at Eastfield. Was there for 2 years, and then went over to McLennan for 2 years. And then the job came open, wanted to come back home. 28 years old, wanted a head job at 28. So got the job, and, was super excited at 28. At 29, got the athletic director job as well. Just been grinding it out. We come out, we compete. We are D3 JUCO, but we go at dudes. We compete. We like to play skill basketball. So we go out and like I said, score a lot of points. We don't press a lot, so it's very interesting. Guys are like, how do you score all those points, but you don't press much? And we have a system and philosophy, and I think we do a really good job with that.
Yeah, talk about the misconception of your level of play. We've had Division II coaches on. We had D-Mac on earlier, and we had Kirkwood on as well. Talk about the misconceptions of that level, and then just talk about some of the guys in your program that guys should look to recruit.
Oh yeah, I mean, guys don't think we can play. We're D3 JUCO, so it's hilarious. I mean, I remember one time we were at the Mullins Jamboree, and I go to the restroom, and there's a guy in there, big time, high level assistant, and he's on the cell phone. And, oh yeah, I'm about to watch Hutch. They about to blow out Eastfield, blah blah blah. I'm just like, okay, bet, all right. So we go out there. I tell some of my D1 buddies, and they're at high level schools, and we're all kind of laughing about it. And this year they had Kadeem Allen, and so we go out. We're up. Had the game won. It's 40 seconds left. No shot clock. And we said we're gonna go ahead and play it out, do it the right way. And one of the guys had a bonehead mistake, threw it between the guy's legs after we spread the floor out. And we end up losing the game, but we're right there. And, a lot of people don't think we could play, but at the end of the day, we may not have the height and the size, but we have the speed and the quickness. And we have guys that can score the ball. We have guys that can shoot the ball, and we're going to come out and compete. Like that's what we do. I mean, we're going to go out there and work hard.
Yeah, and you have many times where you play against the Division I JUCOs, and many victories tallied. Many Division I guys that you've had over there. Talk about some of the guys now that should be recruited, and then just talk about, if you don't mind. I know the humility, but talk about some of the accomplishments you guys have been able to accomplish since you've been there at Eastfield.
Yeah. So, I think about, some of the guys that we've had. Marcus Brister, he was an Iowa State transfer. Again, he was at a D3 JUCO. I mean, that dude could play. Tevin Corprew was a big time player for us, a Division I talent, a little bit older kid, big time athlete. He averaged 29 points and 11 assists per game, and would play like baby Westbrook. Dude could go, Samar Ferris, 5'5". Nobody wanted him. Dude was 5'5", and had such a big heart and was such a competitor. Took us to the national championship in 2013. We ended up losing by 6. I think we got robbed. Is what it is. Foul count was 15-4 with 15 minutes to go in the game. I can live with that. But played for a national championship. Been to 4 Elite Eights. Played in 3 Final Fours. So we've had a lot of success. And, at the end of the day, we just got to go out and compete. We got to be dogs. We got to be great at what we do.
Yeah. We're going to end with a funny story. But just tell us anything else you'd tell your in JUCO, something that you think people should know about the junior college level. Obviously, you're an athletic director, so you hire coaches in other sports as well.
Right.
But in basketball, obviously, you've had a tremendous amount of success, and not only just with your program, but helping other young men, because you are there in the Metroplex, and you do get to see a lot of high-level basketball. You do get to see a lot of transfers back. You do get to compete in all the jamborees, like you said, with Jerry Mullins jamborees or whatever it may be. So talk a little bit about junior college, anything you want people to know in general, and then end us with a funny story if you don't mind.
Yeah, JUCO's good basketball. The biggest thing is the jump from high school to the junior college level, because the guys that have already been there, they get it, they understand it, they've been through the wars, they've been through the battles. We had a point where a lot of the freshman kids, they wouldn't even make the squad. They'll be on the redshirt squad. When we were really rolling 13, 14, 2016, 18, it'd be tough for them to break the roster, break the lineup. So it's really good high-level basketball. We got guys who come out, compete. And, at the end of the day, JUCO, it's like for the guys that didn't make their name in high school, they got to make their name now. So they're going for it. And again, it may be a JUCO guy. He may be 26, 25 years old, and I tell them 18-year-olds all the time, dude, you come in here and you prancing around like you special. This dude 26 with a family. He's trying to get to that scholarship to the next level. He's not playing no games with you. I guess a funny story I have, I'm gonna go back to the Mullins again. We were at a Mullins event, and we're about to play a team, and I want to get a little intel. So I'm kind of hovering around the coach and assistant coach, and he's talking to 4 or 5 D1 guys. Oh, I got some dogs. We this and that. And he did. And 6'10", and went to a high-level Division I, and a 6'7" guard that was really good. And, it was funny when we played him and ended up beating him by 17. And it was very funny because, he was screaming and hollering about all them dogs he got, but them dogs got 8. So it is what it is.
So much for them dogs, man. So much for them dogs.
Yeah. We got little dogs too, little miniature dogs, undersized.
Hey, but all that matters is when the ball goes up, who wins the game, man? Who's showing the dog on the inside?
You got to compete.
No doubt. It's the last things I would say is if you had any kind of recruiting pitch for a potential recruit or a parent or anybody else who may watch this or that you may share it with, what would you say to them about Eastfield College and why they should join that experience before we let you go?
Well, the biggest thing is, the kids can come in, and especially if they're Dallas County kids, not only will they be going to school if they're a Pell Grant kid for free, but then they're going to pocket about $4,000. So I'm going to keep it real. I mean, I've worked Division I JUCO. I know where you may go to the school and you got a scholarship, but part of your scholarship is them taking your Pell money. And then you ending up with $500, $1,000. You come to our place, you're going to pocket it. We've recruited kids from the area. They go up middle of nowhere, Kansas, middle of nowhere, Oklahoma. They want to get away from the big city, but they're big city kids. And then they got a scholarship, but then you pay $10,000 out of pocket after your Pell Grant. Same kid, you come to my place, you get to pocket $4,000 with all that Pell Grant money. So, a lot of people don't know that and understand that. That's one of the biggest things for us. And then at the same time, a big city kid can stay in the big city, can enjoy the big city. And it's cool to move off. It's cool to get a different experience, but then it's also cool to be able to be kind of in your surroundings and be in a big city, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, whatever, so.
Well, Coach, man, we appreciate it. I know you've been doing this for a long time. You've racked up a lot of wins, a lot of accolades, a lot of national notoriety. So we wanted to give you some love today here on JUCO Hoops Insider, man. Appreciate you coming on and appreciate all that you do for junior college and your institution. But also, I think just there's other parts of helping other guys that maybe a guy may not play for you. That you help maybe was on a phone call because you've seen somebody in Dallas, people call you to check in. And then even academically, helping guys get summer school, helping guys get connected to helping their guys get eligible or graduate or get a certain course. And with you being an athletic director and knowing the ins and outs of your institution, you do a great job helping. So wanted to have you on, man. We'll let you have any last words before we let you go.
Yeah, I just appreciate you having me on, and at the end of the day, like I said, we're gonna come out and we're gonna compete. So, if there's people looking for a school that's gonna compete, get you right, then let's get it done.
I love it. I love it. Well, appreciate you, Coach, and thanks for joining us. And tell your family hello. Enjoy the weekend and stay safe.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
Okay, man. Awesome stuff there, Coach Anthony Fletcher. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to try to get our last guest set up for success. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. I want to take time to acknowledge one of our partners, Rising Coaches. Every coach wants to rise in their career in one way or another. We're all looking for professional development, access to tools, and relationships that can help us grow and help us advance in our career. Rising Coaches provides just that. You can visit Rising Coaches at www.risingcoaches.com. Their memberships are just $10 a month and provides a genuine community to help you grow and advance in your career.
Welcome to All Access Coaches Corner, where our mission is to serve coaches, share their stories, and spotlight their programs with our host, Brian Burton. A longtime successful college basketball coach, former championship collegiate point guard, husband, and father, Brian is now the Vice President of Rising Coaches Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Alliance for men's basketball, an empowerment coach and founder of B3 Legacy Sports and the All Access Network. Sports broadcaster and host for All Access Coaches Corner and All Access Sports Media, Coach Burton is now using his successes, experiences, and connections to be a point guard in the sports industry at all levels, with a mission to help others to further their success. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and join us in the All Access Coaches Corner. Thank you for joining us for the All Access Coaches Corner podcast. We are so excited to continue serving coaches, sharing their stories, and spotlighting their programs. Stay connected as we bring you more special guests and more real conversations covering all aspects of the game. You can find our show on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you like to get your podcasts. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at allaccess_CC. Subscribe to the All Access Network YouTube channel and join us in the All Access Coaches Corner.
So we are going to read off some scores give some update while we wait on our next guest to come on. We had some games that happened here recently that were big time. Double overtime between number one John A. Logan and Three Rivers. John A. Logan wins 121-117. So high level play game by Three Rivers and number one John A. Logan. Had him on the ropes. It looks like it was a big time game. So definitely, if you have not watched that one, I would definitely check John A. Logan's social media to be able to watch that live stream or their website. And Pearl River, number 4, plays. They won at the buzzer, 6-6. Jerian Wilkins. They won over Jones. Number 4, Pearl River wins over Jones by 3. So that was also a big time game here recently. Indian Hills, number 12, Indian Hills beat Southeastern 77-67 in overtime as well. So we've had some big time games. I can continue to kind of read down this list. Coffeyville played Hutch already. Number 8, Coffeyville played Hutch. Number 14, Hutch, and they won 88-68, so it wasn't a close game. Was expected to be, but was not one. Big time win there. We had Trinity Valley on earlier. They got an upset, or what would be an upset by the poll standards, over Navarro, 91-85 in the conference game. Southwest Georgia Tech beat Northwest Florida 77-73. Probably another surprising score people weren't expecting. For the most part, most of the teams, that's kind of the recent scores. We've had about a week of games that we haven't had, and obviously Brandon's not here to kind of break down the country from coast to coast. But we're going to try to get our last guest on real quick to be able to give him some love and some shout outs. So give us 1 second. Let's see. I think he may be ready. So Coach Lewis Orr, just as I talk about him, we wait for this kind of last stream to get connected. Coach Lewis Orr has coached over 60 years. He's a Hall of Famer, 37 years in junior college, has coached in junior high, has coached in high school, has coached at the Division I level at SMU, and also was a head coach at Kimball High School. He's been a little bit everywhere. And again, his tree is tremendous. With Buzz Williams probably being the biggest name. He's been on the staff with Buzz at Marquette. He's been on the staff with Buzz at Virginia Tech. He's also the mentor to a couple other Navarro Bulldogs. Sam Walker, former head coach, all-time leading his head coach at on the men's side, Texas A&M Commerce. Terry Waltrip former head coach at Texas Wesleyan. Bilal Batley, who's at Houston. Johnny Estelle, who's at Texas A&M Kingsville. So his list goes on. He's a tremendous story. I think we're going to try to have a chance to get him connected here and see if we can get some good stuff. So let's see if we can get Coach Orr. Coach Orr, can you hear me?
I sure can, Brian. It's a great day to be living, man.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Awesome to have you on. Really excited we're able to get you connected and get you hooked up to where we can listen to some of the stories and hear some of the wisdom from you, Coach. So we'll just give you the floor and just let you open up with talking about any aspect of your journey that you want to talk about. We've already kind of introduced you and talked about the guys that are in your coaching tree, how long you've done this, and how many success stories. We can't even measure those, but as much as you want to share, just go ahead and take the floor and tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, I've really had an interesting journey, and I think that all of us have a starting point in our journeys. And it doesn't matter where you start. What does matter is what you're doing each and every day. If I'm always looking forward to being somewhere else than staying or at least working today where I am, because that's what counts. Am I learning anything today that's going to help me 20 years from now, 10 years from now, or 60 years from now? I think the big thing is a lot of times we want to jump ahead, or I don't want to start at that level. And when I went to college at Texas Wesleyan University, I had the opportunity to be involved in some really good circumstance and situation, but probably the best thing that I was involved with, I worked my way through college for 4 years. I swept and mopped floors for 4 years to go to Texas Wesleyan University. And I had a cousin that encouraged me to come, and I lived with their family for a year, and then I moved into the dorm and all that kind of good stuff, and enjoyed a college life. But I think working at Globe Laboratories, north of the stockyards, I had a great education in regards to people, all nationalities, all ages, male, female, all the opportunities of those that were educated or uneducated. So it gave you an opportunity to read people, to learn about people, and to evaluate people. And it also gave you an opportunity to try to interact and give value to everyone. Because when you give value to people, that means you like them, you value them to who they are, not what they've done as much as who they are, what's their character. Because character helped me in coaching of determining who had character, who was willing to work, who was willing to follow instructions. Because if you can't hear the instructions and you won't follow the instructions, it's very difficult to develop players, to build a relationship. So to me, that was a real key factor in who would follow instructions, because I had managers, I had coaches, and you always want the best people around you, because I wasn't very good, so I had to surround myself with outstanding, intelligent, young, bright minds that were willing to work and weren't questioning everything you said. And I really enjoyed that. So I got a chance to coach in elementary school, which when I got the job, I couldn't get any other job. So I started coaching in Dallas independent school system back in 1959. That was before most of you were even thought of. But I got to coach at Anson Jones Elementary 2 years. No gym there, but we competed in basketball, we competed in football, and we competed in track and field in the elementary school back in that time. I coached at Anson Jones for 2 years with no gymnasium. I remember one day we had to sweep off the snow. And that's hard to find snow in Dallas, Texas. But we did that. Then I got an opportunity to go to another elementary school in North Dallas at Calier Elementary. And that was we had a gym. We had about 1,500 or 1,600 students. And we competed in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade basketball competition. And I remember having my students or my players come early in the morning to shoot free throws at lunchtime, and to stay after practice or stay after school, and we had our workout. So I'm sure that the parents really didn't care much about me, because I took up a lot of time with their children. But I wasn't satisfied with having just a 4th and 5th and 6th grade team. I started a 1st grade team, a 2nd grade team, and a 3rd grade team. And I thought that would really helped our development, because the young players never did know the difference between a right hand or a left hand. So they could dribble left-handed, learn to dribble left-handed, learn to dribble right-handed. And it really helped their development of not having a favorite hand. They could go left, they could go right. And to me, that was very important. In fact, I had one player that played 12 years of college, I guess it was, you might say, independent school, or I'm trying to reach for the word right now, but the development of his abilities. He played on my 4th grade team for 4 years. Then he played on the 5th and 6th and 7th and on up. So he played 12 years in a situation of competition in the public school. And I don't know if too many people's ever done that. But he was an outstanding young man, and he turned out to be a coach. And he coached women's basketball down in East Texas, right outside of Nacogdoches, for several years. And then he retired a couple of years ago. And I got a chance to go down and speak at one of his banquets. And he was quite a player, a really great player.
Yeah, then I love the story, Coach, with the fact that you stay in touch with your guys the way you do, and you've coached at the lowest of levels when it comes to organized basketball, all the way to the highest of levels. 37 years in junior college, Coach. Speak on junior college specifically, if you don't mind, and just what did you love about junior college? How were you able to do it for so long? Not many people could accomplish that, and then to do it in such a successful manner where you impacted so many lives. Tell us a little bit about your JUCO experience specifically.
I appreciate you asking about that, because JUCO is my favorite, because in junior college you have to learn, or you have to earn the right to play. And a lot of the 4-year schools that I've been involved in, you didn't have to earn the right to play. You got to play because of somebody's recommendation or somebody's evaluation of the talent. But that's what I loved about JUCO. You had to come to work every day. And if you wasn't willing to work, you wasn't going to be a part of the team. And if you couldn't follow instructions, you probably didn't need to be there, because learning is a process. And it doesn't matter what you're learning, but can you try to be the best learner on of whoever you're competing with? And you had to compete with each other. Competition today, it's hard for young men to value competing with one another, because in the Bible it talks about it. Iron sharpens iron. Well, if your player or teammate is not competing with you at a high level of competition and a high level of concentration and focus, neither one of you is going to get better. But if you're trying to make each other better, then you're receiving a double portion. You're receiving the good, the bad, and the ugly. You're learning how to work through difficult times, because we're going to have ups and downs. We're going to have highs and lows. And in life, you're still going to have those things. So in basketball, it's a great teacher of how to live when you're in the valley and how to live on top of the mountain. And to me, that carries over to your life. And fortunately, I got to coach at Kimball High School. I got to coach at Kimball High School in 1967-68 season. And I reaped the benefits of someone else's hard work. I had a senior team. They went 28-4, made me look good that I knew something. Well, I didn't know any more than they did. They were excellent young men. They had great character. They had great support at home. They were willing to follow instructions. And they took in an old junior high coach that was fortunate to be able to coach a bunch of young men and not mess them up too much. But they were outstanding. And I know that Thomas Jefferson, we played in the city playoff. And we got beat by guys that I'd coached in elementary and junior high on that side of the town. So junior college, to me, is the best place to start, because you have to go there and make your own way. You go there and you learn to follow instructions. You learn to improve your skills. You learn to be a great teammate, because great teammates support each other through the good, the bad, the ugly. And that's why you want to surround yourself with outstanding managers, coaches, and fans. And your teachers in your college, you want to support them, because they're the one that's going to help your student athlete to be a good student, to be an outstanding student, to be able to make the next step to a university. So junior college basketball covers all of that, because when I started coaching in junior college, I had 1 year in high school experience. And really, that was a downer to some degree, but I've had success at every level because I've had outstanding players. I've had outstanding coaches that work for me. So,
Coach, speaking of outstanding coaches, if you don't mind, I'm gonna mention 4 names of some guys that have worked for you, or 5, and then you just kind of give me a 1 or 2 minute quick thing so we can go to the next guy. So I'll start with Coach Johnny Estelle.
Well, you're starting at the top of the heap, man. Johnny
Exactly.
Estelle,
There's no warm up. You got to start with the best. You got to start with the best.
Well, hey, Johnny Estelle is like my son. He's part of my family. He's one of my children. But I claim all my children, regardless whether they work for me or didn't, because I adopt people all the time. Because they don't have to know I adopt them, because if they knew I adopt them, they'd want probably $1 or 2. But Johnny Estelle was one of those young men that was eager. He had great skill, communication skills. He had great coaches in his junior high school. He was a coach's what we're all looking for. He was hungry. He wasn't afraid to work. He wasn't afraid to make mistakes. But he was a great communicator, and he was a great young man that loved his players. And he stayed with me for 8 years. He was my assistant for 8 years. And every day I went to practice, I wanted to line up. You got 5, Johnny, and I got 5. I'm going to beat you. You're going to beat me. And we just tried to compete with each other every day, which was a great benefit for us as coaches, but it was a great benefit for our players. And he's one of the best. And if somebody doesn't move him up to, I think he's in a great place right now because he has to struggle. He has to struggle, but he's not complaining about the struggle. He's already struggled because he came to my place at Navarro College when we didn't have any scholarships. The president walked in one day and said, "We're going to drop basketball."
Wow.
I'd been there about 10 years. Fortunately, the community supported us, and we brought a new president, and the new president said, "We're going to give you 3 scholarships back each year till you get back to the same as everybody else." And he did what he said he would do. And Johnny was there all through that difficult time, and we finally got back to where we had 12 full scholarships. And at that point in time, we also were able to give our financial aid to our players. So
yeah, I hope he gets the opportunity to move. I hope he gets the opportunity. Excuse me to interrupt you, Coach. I hope he gets the opportunity to move up. He definitely deserves it. He's as good as it gets as a coach. I'm going to give you another name that similarly in the Texas A&M system, not in Kingsville, but Commerce, the name Sam Walker.
Sam Walker, he was another one of those young men that had great coaching in high school. He was a player, and he came to our place, and he was going to try out for our team, but we had a really good team that year, and he decided he wanted to be involved in basketball in our program. So he was one of our student assistants, and I asked our student assistants to do everything that I treated them like I was paying them $1 million because there was nothing I wanted them to do that I wouldn't do. Sweep the floor, go pick up a player, go scout a team, because I wanted them to get the experience of being a learner, not just being a student and being able to picking up towels and things like that. I wanted them to experience what I wished I could have experienced when I was at that level and that age. Because the more you get if you give people responsibilities, they have some skin in the game. And Coach Sam had a high school coach named Chester Story. And he and Chester had a great relationship. And Sam is a relationship guy, just like Johnny Estelle. And he proved that wherever he was bought in. They were both full-time on duty. There wasn't anything they wouldn't do. And I'm so proud to have the privilege to call them my children, both of them my children. I call all of them my children, but those were 2 special guys. And Sam has got a chance to go coach with Coach P, and became the head coach there. And now he's in another position, but he's going to be the best in whatever position he's in.
Yeah, I'll give you another one, Coach. We got 3 more. So Bilal Batley, now at University of Houston.
Hey, you know, I couldn't have been surrounded by better people because all these guys we're talking about, they were bought in. They were 120% or 30 or 50% in because they wanted to come in and help the program. They didn't want to just sit around and do nothing. They wanted to come in and be of value. And they wanted to add value to our team, which all of them did. They had skills, and Bilal was one of those individual improvement guys. He would take a young man and work with him every day. He'd work with anybody that wanted to improve. And he's still that same kind of guy. He was probably the guy you wouldn't have coached any place. He coached at Memphis University. He coached at Indiana. He coached at, where was the other one? He had 3 of the Kentucky. He was at Kentucky. He was at Indiana.
Oklahoma.
And he was at Memphis.
Yep.
As a student coach, he was involved just like he was in the program. Yep. And he helped people. He still helps people. And now he's a full-time assistant at University of Houston. How could you have better backgrounds than those? And I think that Navarro, he helped us get off the ground. I don't know if we helped him, but he helped us. But I taught him a lesson about being responsible for the keys. And one day he was supposed to lock the balls up. He locked them up, put them away, but he left the keys in the door. So I just pulled the keys out, stuck them in my pocket, and I let him 2 or 3, 4 days search for those keys. He never did forget that experience, because I tease him every chance I say, "Where's your keys?" And he'll pull out some kind of key and show it to me. But he's still one of the tops.
No doubt. I got 2 more. I got a current JUCO head coach, Scott Monarch, and then last we got Buzz Williams.
Scott Monarch was one of the best players in Kentucky. He and one of the other top players were the 2 leading scorers. The other guy's name, and I can't think of it. Jumped in, jumped out. But Scott had a great mind for the game. Scott had a great eye for players. Scott coached for us a couple of years, maybe 3 years, and then he became a head coach. And he's still the head coach at Grayson County. He started the program back at Grayson County, but he also coached for Coach Williams at Marquette.
Yep, he did.
And he had just a great feel for players and talent, and he still has it. And he was a guy that ran the fast break to the ultimate. He developed that ability in that program wherever he was. He was at Panola at one time as the head coach there. Did an outstanding
job at Panola.
Yes. And he was he just grew up in basketball in Kentucky area. And he had a great mind. He still has a great mind for the game, and he still loves to coach day in and day out. Did a heck of a job. Another guy that was there with him was a guy named Terry Walton. And Terry became the head coach at Texas Wesleyan and won a national championship. Yep. And Terry was another one of those guys. He is from Louisiana. He grew up in basketball country as well. And just did an outstanding job.
Yeah, outstanding job, and not coaching currently, but a great man and was a great coach, another one in your tree. And we'll end with the last one that we'll bring up today, which is Buzz Williams, the head coach at Texas A&M, who you worked with, I should say. Can't say worked for, but worked with at Marquette and at Virginia Tech, and is one of the best coaches in the country. So talk a little bit about him before we ask you one more question and let you go.
Well, Coach Williams, he showed up one day at practice, and he said, "Coach, can I watch practice?" And I said, "No." He said, "What? Why not?" I said, "You can work, but you can't watch practice." He said, "Well, what do you want me to do?" I said, I won't ask you to do anything that I want to. So I said, "First thing I want you to do is sweep the floor." Well, he swept the floor, and at that point in time, he didn't get the corners. He didn't sweep the corners. So, those corners and all that dust will filter back out on the floor, and if somebody falls down or slides down, or maybe he might ruin a knee or an ankle or a leg or something like that. And so I had him sweep it again. And from that day on, he swept the corners. And he was a detail guy. And I told him, I said, you get a pad, you get a pen, and anybody that walks in this gym you make sure you get their information and you communicate with them. And he's got a story that he did that for so many years, and he's such a detailed person. He's such a robot. I call him a robot because he's gonna read God's word. He's gonna text somebody every day. He's gonna email so many each day. He's gonna call so many people each day, and he's gonna read the Bible every day, and he's gonna read 3 or 4 books at the same time. So he's continuing to educate a learner. He's a learner that continues to learn, and he shares his information and his wisdom and discernment that he gains from all the books and all the people that he's been around. He shares that with his players, and he tries to give them an education beside the formal education. He gives them a practical education. He teaches them how to change a tire, how to change the oil. He'll teach them how to save money. He teaches them how to open a bank account. He teaches something every day. He used to call it tech time. And he still does that. He's got a habit of being able to educate other people. And he loves his players to try to prepare them for life.
I think he calls it Get Better now, where he does he's had a lot of videos that have gone out. They've done such a good job at A&M of marketing what he does to help build, like you said, young men to be champions in life and be successful in all ways of life, teaching them the smallest of details, like you said. I know you could talk about those guys all day. I know we could have you on for as long as we wanted. Before we wrap up in this last kind of 5 minutes, what's any advice you have, observations, advice you have for coaches or players in today's basketball? You've obviously coached in multiple decades, and you've put so much of your blood, sweat, and tears and dedication to so many lives and so many people and programs. And just as the names we just mentioned, you've impacted so many other coaches who are now impacting lives as well. So your legacy lives on. The court was named after you. Congratulations on that. Navarro College court was named after you, which definitely earned. And I wasn't there to be there in person, but heard a lot about it from some of the names of the people you mentioned and saw the pictures, and so happy for you because you've impacted people that have also impacted myself, my brother, and Sam Walker, who is a head women's coach. My brother is at Texas A&M Commerce, but he's in Sam Walker's tree, and you've impacted me through the people. Your stories live on way more than you know, and the lessons that you've told. So any lessons or stories or anything that you want to leave us with in this last maybe 4 minutes?
Well, I think one thing, those coaches, they tell some stories about me that I don't even remember that really happened. I think they made me look bad because they made me look so good. They were so good. You can tell that God put the right people. He usually puts people with people that need help. So all those guys were necessary for me to be successful at any level. And if you don't have dedicated, committed people that have a love for the same thing that you love, you got the wrong people. You got to get guys that are better than you are. And as we talked about all those guys were 10,000 times better than I ever thought about being. They added so much to our team, to our players, to our program, to our community. They weren't just a basketball guy. They reached out to the churches. They went to churches. They went all over our community giving. You want people that give. Givers and takers are in this life. We don't want to be a taker. We want to be givers. Because the more we give, the more opportunity we have to receive from their gifts, because they're going to help other people. And to me, I told my players for years, I said, you got to have skill. If you don't have skill, they don't have to pay you. If you have skill, they've got to pay you. So it doesn't matter. I'd like to be able to reach out and say, the guys that I've seen the most successful, the program at Marquette, we had probably the best trainer in America. Eugene was the best trainer in America. Now he's in the NBA over in Florida. And we had the best weight training coach. Guys that could make guys stronger. That made guys stronger in the mind and in the body. You can't do without those kind of people. Then you got to have some guys that says, Coach, I can teach shooting. Today, you're going to have specialty guys that can teach. And if coaches can't teach, you don't need them. You need guys that can teach. And Bilal could teach. Johnny could teach. Sam could teach. Terry could teach. Coach Williams could teach. All those guys were teachers. So if I had a team today or a staff today, I'd want to give responsibility to each one. Didn't matter where they came from or if they were in college. I got to have somebody. You're our shooting coach. You are our defensive coach. You are our rebounding coach. You are our strength coach. You are our public relation coach. And have each one of those gain expertise and skill, and they teach all the rest of us. Now we're accumulated, have many different experts. They're all experts in their field, and they're going to share that ability with our team and with our coaching staff. And we all grow. And when you stop growing, you need to get out of the game. And when you stop learning, you need to get out of the game. And when you stop caring about people, we need to get out of the game. And when we stop telling people about Jesus, we need to get out of the game.
Amen. 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 Well, Coach, that's a great one to end on. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on and give us some of these pearls of wisdom. We'll definitely have to figure out a time we can get you back on, even if it's not necessarily a live recording, and just get some more of this wisdom, man, so we can keep paying it forward to the next generation, the next one after that. Your legacy continues to live on. I'm such a fan of yours, and you, like I said, you've impacted me and so many. I just wanted to make sure we're paying homage to those that have paved the way in junior college as we give respect to junior college on this show. It didn't make sense to not have such an important figure in junior college Hall of Fame history. So we had to have you on, Coach.
Well, I want to say thank you to you and your beautiful wife for what you're doing, because you're helping, you're giving, and you're helping all ages, young and old, and those beyond old. And I appreciate you, and we love you.
Well, thank you, Coach, so much, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you, Coach, for joining us today. And thank you, everyone else, for joining. We had a full plate today. Definitely was a jam-packed day. We had coaches from all parts of the country to be able to come on today and talk junior college, talk about their programs. BG wasn't able to join us today and may not be able to join us every day, every time we have a show, because he has things he has to do too, and appointments and meetings. And we just keep the JUCO show rolling, though. We keep the JUCO love going, and we want to make sure we continue to do a great job of, again, just celebrating some of these programs and some of these coaches. And we want to continue to serve them and serve the game. So if you don't know some of these guys, go Google them. If you're not following them already on social, go follow them. If you're not following JUCO Advocate or All Access Network, make sure you do that. And we'll be back next Friday with some more inside of JUCO, whatever that may be. You never know. It's like a box of chocolates, but we'll keep it fun. We appreciate all the support and love. And, tell your loved ones you love them, wear a mask, be great, and be grateful. See you next time.